You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Geico. The sun is set in Manhattan, Kansas, as we welcome you to the Sunflower Showdown. Number 16, Kansas State, and KU getting set to do battle for the 122nd time before this capacity crowd at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. And you may be asking, why is this game important? Well, the answer is simple. There are playoff implications. You look in the rough and rugged Big 12 right now. BYU, an impressive win on the road at UCF earlier today. They're in the driver's seat, but K-State and Iowa State are right there, and the Wildcats still with a legit opportunity to reach the new 12-team playoff. So glad you could join us. He's Sam Acho. I'm Roy Philpott. Taylor Davis joins us on the sideline in just 1 minute. Sam, it's a rivalry. You can feel the energy in this stadium right now.
You can also feel the hatred in this stadium. There were some words said by K-State fans that I probably can't repeat, but that's what college football is all about, the excitement, the passion, the energy in this rivalry.
He was a linebacker at Texas. He didn't like playing here. Meanwhile, for KSU, it starts and ends with Avery Johnson, the talented sophomore quarterback who is doing things in a vastly different way in 2024.
He's growing and maturing right in front of our eyes. Avery Johnson is going to be the best athlete on the field, but now he's trying to become the best quarterback on the field and make a name for himself. Last week, he was throwing the ball, didn't run it at all. Weeks past, he would run it, so let's see what he'll do tonight.
Nearly 300 yards through the air. He glides through secondaries. If you give him an inch, he's going to take it to the house, and that Kansas State running game has been on point.
Well, he has elite-level speed, but now he's building more trust with his receivers and his tight ends. That's what makes him different. That's what makes Avery Johnson special.
Kansas also with plenty of weapons to talk about this evening, led by Devin Neal, now a senior on the verge of smashing some all-time greats records in Lawrence.
Correct, and he's the team captain. He was the #1 recruit out of the state of Kansas, but he decided to come here to Kansas to try and make a name for himself as well. Now, Devin Neal is on the verge of many records, but it's going to be his offensive line that's going to have to hold up against his stout K-State front if he's going to break them.
And a chance with just 73 rushing yards to smash the all-time career mark at KU on the ground. Kickoff in Manhattan coming up next. Well, it's called the Sunflower Showdown. It is the 122nd meeting between KU and Kansas State. Wildcats have been dominant as of late. The last win by Kansas, the Jayhawks, it was Mark Mangino in 2008. K-State's won 15 in a row since. Last season, it was a nail-biter. Lance Leipold told us this week they let one slip away, blowing a double-digit advantage in the second half. 31-27 was the final. Let's see what happens just 1 year later. KU and Kansas State, you would think it's a rivalry. There's a lot of hatred, but Taylor Davis, there's also a lot of respect between these programs.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. This is a heated year-round rivalry. This environment will tell you that. But as for these head coaches, nothing but respect. Coach Kleiman and Coach Leipold got here in similar ways, climbing the ranks through D3 and FCS football. And both of them greeted midfield before the game. They said they speak weekly. Obviously, both looking for a win in this rivalry game, but a lot of respect. The animosity stays up in the stands, guys.
No question about it. Kansas State won the coin toss and deferred. Kansas will get the football first, and after the touchback, we'll take a look at tonight's impact players, brought to you by Carfax.
Well, one of them is a name that we've already heard. It's running back Devin Neal from Kansas. He has great acceleration, great contact balance, and really good vision. But on the other side, it's going to be DJ Giddens, the other back. He's a bigger back, 6'1", over 210 pounds, but he has great quickness and can make you miss in a hole. And so these backs are going to be what makes both of these teams go.
Injured player before we get to our first snap from scrimmage. On the special teams. Asa Newsome walking off gingerly. Mainstay in that Kansas State defense. as KU takes over. A capacity crowd on hand at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, and it has been very loud going back as far as 2 hours ago. Jalen Daniels coming off his best performance of the season in a convincing win against Houston a week ago at Arrowhead. He'll call his own number on first down, twisting and turning, and a gain of 3, maybe 4 for the Jayhawks. Kansas just 2-5. They've been ranked in the top 25 going back to the preseason. Acho, the story of the year in Lawrence has been close losses late in games that they probably feel like they should have won.
Well, 4 of their 5 losses are by 1 score, and they were leading late in all of those games going into the 4th quarter. So the word for Kansas is finish.
Devin Neal, the running back. Daniels throws it. The quick strike to Lawrence Arnold. He's stopped after a gain of 4. It'll be 3rd down. Desmond Purnell with a tackle. 3rd and short for the Jayhawks.
And some of the issues that you run into when you're a visiting team in a crowd like this is trying to quiet the crowd. It's 3rd and short right now, but an early first down helps calm a loud crowd.
Jayhawks need 2. They were going to run the option into the boundary, and the noise already making a difference.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 47. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Mike McCabe, our referee, you mentioned they want to quiet the crowd. Didn't happen there.
Well, on the other side of it, the defense loves this atmosphere. You force a false start early. You're at home, haven't been at home in a month. The entire student section is going crazy. You love these opportunities. 3rd and long, 3rd and 7. It's time for the defense to eat.
KU needs 7. Daniels flushed to the edge. And right at the line to gain as he steps out of bounds. That'll move the chains. Well, a crafty finish by Jalen Daniels as the pocket collapsed.
Well, this happens sometimes where, as an offensive player, you just outrun the angle of the defender. So Desmond Purnell, number 32, he's spying the quarterback. He has a great angle, then all of a sudden, Jalen Daniels outruns his angle. That's just called being a better athlete than the person who you're going against.
Two minutes in and a first down for the Jayhawks. Devin Neal rumbles across the 40. And a gain of 5 on first down. That's exactly what Jeff Grimes, the new OC for Kansas, wants to see. Production on the early downs.
And expect not just that production, but expect Kansas to go back to that speed option look. I know they didn't run it, it was a penalty, but that's a staple of their offense. They want Jalen Daniels in space against some of the linebackers and potential safeties and give him the option to pitch the ball to Devin Neal.
Neal has never beaten Kansas State. This is his last opportunity to do so. Lachlan goes in motion. Neal, the running back, they'll give it to him on the inside handoff. And a 1-yard gain makes it 3rd down. VJ Payne, the tackle.
VJ Payne is a safety, but he's 6'3", 211. So he's a bigger human being, but I love how quickly he came down to that hole. The reason that matters is now it's not a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. That tackle at the line of scrimmage forces you into a 3rd and 4. But Kansas, unlike a lot of teams, they love to run it on 3rd and 6 or less. And so don't be surprised if Kansas decides to run the rock.
Jared Casey joins Daniels and Neal in the backfield on 3rd down. Into the flats, Neal had to make one man miss. He'll do so and a little bit more. Did the ball pop out? K-State players signaling. Jordan Riley involved in the tackle. And a commotion at the end of that run. It's a first down for Kansas. And a gain of 7 on 3rd and 4.
Well, that was a beautiful play by Jordan Riley pulling the ball out. And I get it. The ball, number one, I think the ball did come out, but Devin Neal recovered it. But what this tells me is that the defense is hunting. They are hunting for the football. So ball security is going to be major in this game.
Neal off the playing surface and wincing for a moment. Morrison checks in at running back. Daniels going to be flushed again. Now delivers on the move. Incomplete. Luke Grimm is trying to break open. And the coverage was there with Siegel. And the big pick six a week ago. Road win at West Virginia. An impressive win for K-State.
And he finally got his feet under him. Jalen Daniels did. We've seen the first 6 or so, 5 games, a lot of overthrows. We didn't see him playing so well. Now we're looking at Devin Neal potentially going to the locker room.
Savion Morrison remains on the field at running back. Grimm will move in motion. Daniels keeps it, option in the boundary again, and Daniels powers his way for another first down for KU, a gain of 11. Travis Bates stopped him, and Kansas on the move on its first possession.
What makes the speed option play so hard to defend is that there's, number one, there's 3 different options. You could have given it, you could have kept it and pitched it, but number 2, Jalen Daniels is going in space, and he's already a supreme athlete. So now as a defender, you're trying to decide, do I slow play the quarterback? Do I go straight out to the pitch? So he makes that decision very difficult if you don't go and attack it right now.
Neal remains on the sideline. Morrison has just 52 rush yards all season. Through the A-gap, elite burst and a gain of 2. Lance Leipold said this week, we have to be enthusiastic on the road, not emotional. We know the crowd's going to be in it. We've got to find a way to start fast. They've done that up to this point.
Well, they have, and their offense has been extremely effective, but they've turned the ball over late in the first half specifically. They're great in the red zone, but when it comes to turnovers, they've really struggled. So that emotion and the excitement is important, but you have to make sure you control the football.
10th play of the drive. Daniels with a clean pocket. Fires one deep, man-to-man coverage. Incomplete. Keenan Garber deep down the field and handled Luke Grimm on a 50-50 ball and a tough play either way.
And that's the second deep shot that we've seen from Jalen Daniels. The second shot that he's had, that it's been covered. That tells me is that Jalen Daniels is trusting his receivers. That's positive for Kansas, but also could be great for K-State because these DBs are going to say he'll throw it up to us. All we have to do is catch it.
Jayhawks perfect on 3rd down tonight. They need 8. Daniels effective on the ground early. The handoff to the edge and a first down and a lot more. There goes Morrison into the red zone. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Kansas. From 38 yards out, the effort, the energy for 28 in white, he got it done.
People talk often about the next man up mentality. Savion Morrison, the next man up, taking the opportunity to not only get in the end zone, but do it when the guy in front of you is injured. Breaking tackles, finding the end zone.
Tabor Allen on for the point after. What an opening statement on the first drive of the night by the team from Lawrence, some 85 miles away, due east on Interstate 70. No problem with his start. Say with me, Savion Morrison, Acho.
Savion Morrison takes the opportunity, breaks the tackle, makes the defender miss, and finds the end zone. 7-zip Kansas.
You're watching the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. Look at Aggieville here in Manhattan. Kansas State trailing KU. Just one possession so far, and the Jayhawks took 6 minutes off the clock. 11 plays, 75 yards. And Savion Morrison, transfer from Nebraska, reaching the end zone from 38 yards out, his 2nd score of the season. And with the touchback, we saw Devin Neal walk off the playing surface moments ago. We mentioned his ability and chances to break the all-time rushing record at Kansas, and clearly not happy after being banged up early.
And that play may have seemed like it came on when the defender was trying to rip that ball out. But Devin Neal's a tough individual. He wanted to come back not just for this game, but for this season. And so hopefully we'll be able to come back and finish strong.
The ultra smooth Avery Johnson on the field. Career start number 9. The talented sophomore coming off a career high in passing yards a week ago. Road win in Morgantown. He'll throw it on first down. He wants to, and the dump off to his tight end, and they've got plenty of weapons. That's Will Swanson. They're bringing the tight end back in 2024, Acho.
You know, we do impact players. I was going to have all the tight ends. Like, the tight end room was going to be my impact players. I don't know if they had enough space on that, but these tight ends are building an immense amount of trust with their quarterback. It's almost like they are his safety valve. And so I want to see Avery Johnson throw it outside, but also expect him to get the ball inside to the trusted tight ends as well.
298 passing yards last week. No rushing yards. That was by design. Coming off a physical game, a win, and a comeback at Colorado. DJ Giddens picks up a first down. Stopped at the 38, a gain of 5 by Cornell Wheeler. And the drive begins for the Cats. Only halfway home, and an entertaining start of the Sunflower Showdown. And Avery Johnson, we talked with him yesterday extensively. To suggest he's calm, cool, collected, all of those different adjectives would be an understatement. He's got the low heartbeat even when he's under a lot of stress.
Peace. Like, that's the only word that I felt when I was around him. You just feel the sense of peace.
He'll step up in the pocket. He'll take off. And runs ahead of the 44. 6-yard gain. Robinson the tackle for the Jayhawks.
One thing I'll be watching for, we heard from the coaching staff from K-State, is Avery Johnson has gotten better at going through his progressions. That's a sign of maturity. On that first pass, you saw him go through his progressions. So let's see, as the pocket breaks down, as the pass rush goes in the backfield, will Avery Johnson tuck it and run? Will he stay in the pocket and go through his progressions? Or will he get sacked?
The offensive coordinator here in Manhattan this season, Connor Riley. Matt Wells also a part of that mix. He's the co-offensive coordinator. Former head man at Texas Tech and Utah State. Giddens will pick up the first down to midfield. But you mentioned going through the progressions. Avery told us as well that really has started to slow down for him after the game began so fast a year ago when he came off the bench to replace Will Howard, who's now at Ohio State. And now in his sophomore campaign, going 1, 2, 3, or 4 has been relatively easy so far. The Cats on the ground have been electric, and he's been a big part of that until a week ago. Play action, Johnson back to the air, and out of bounds looking for Jace Brown.
Avery Johnson, to your point about the progressions, he's always been the best athlete on the field. In high school, where he grew up in Mays, he was the best best player in his high school, best player on the field. And now as you're getting to this collegiate ranks, you may not always be the best athlete. And even if you are, you want to be able to beat people multiple ways. So that's where he's growing as the season has progressed.
Second and 10. DJ Giddens bottled up. They have lost half a yard. DJ Withers was there. And Kansas ready and waiting with J.B. Brown.
It's a great play by Withers using his hands. He's 6'4", 310, redshirt junior from Little Rock, Arkansas. But now we're in a 3rd and 10 position. What that means is obvious pass rushers are going to come on the field, going to get into nickel, so get less linebackers and more defensive backs on field. And Avery Johnson may have to throw it.
They'll fake it to Giddens, a pump fake for Johnson, and he wants it all. Man-to-man coverage. And Keegan Johnson was blanketed by Kobe Bryant. Number 2 in white for the Jayhawks, coming off 3 interceptions in one game last week in the win against Houston.
Correct. He's the reigning Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. And he's named Kobe Bryant for a reason. His parents named him Kobe because they said he was going to have that Mamba mentality, and that's what he's been. Now, he doesn't get his head turned back around, but there's not enough contact there for that to be considered a pass interference.
Right, rode him out of bounds. Outstanding play. The KU secondary once again. Trevor Wilson, the fair catch at the 10. Punt of 42. Nothing on the return. Kansas gets it back. The 7-0 lead on the road.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Get more with Geico.
Well, it's the first home game in 28 days in Manhattan, so the fans, well, you could feel it flying in yesterday to Manhattan. They've been ready for this game for quite some period of time as Devin Neal makes his return to the playing surface. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. And important to point out, Savion Morrison, the third-team running back behind Daniel Highshaw Jr., who's not expected to play tonight. And a good sign if you're a fan, Rock Chalk with Devin Neal on the playing surface again. On the verge, perhaps, of history of Kansas football. Casey moves in motion out of the pistol look. Daniels will keep it. And flushed out, he'll deliver it out of bounds. And incomplete. Time now for our drive recap, presented by Rain-X. 11 plays, 75 yards in just over 6 minutes. It was the Jalen Daniels show.
Well, first we saw Jalen Daniels erase an angle. There was an angle, then it just disappeared. And then Devin Neal, he gets injured. So what's going to happen? Who are you going to go to? You go to your third-team running back, Savion Morrison. The 6'2", 215 running back, redshirt junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, finds the end zone to give his team the early lead.
After the incompletion, second down, Daniels from his own goal line. Jared Casey with a spin move and a head to the 20. It's enough for a first down and a gain of 11 yards. Taylor Davis, what did we see with Devin Neal going into the locker room, then coming back out?
Yeah, he spent some time in the medical tent. He was clearly favoring that right arm, right shoulder. They then took him to the locker room. He came back out, jogged onto the field. Guys, you will notice he's wearing a pretty big brace on that right shoulder. It's sticking out from under his pads, but he ran out with the trainer, grabbed his helmet. I saw several teammates give him a thumbs up, thumbs down. He said, oh yeah, I'm good.
He's ready. He knows this is it. He's never beaten Kansas State. The time is now. Straight ahead goes Neal in a full head of steam. Slammed down to the 36, and here comes a penalty marker. After a gain of 15 yards, Jacob Parrish with the tackle. And let's see.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 10. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And it was Parrish called for the personal foul.
And one thing that Devin Neal is so elite at is his vision. He'll set up safeties and linebackers from 3 and 4 yards away. Yes, the hole was wide, but as you're watching this game, watch Devin Neal set people up 3 and 4 yards away.
He was body slammed with the face mask, Acho. That doesn't feel good.
He's got that action.
Perfect start for KU. Movement at the line, no penalty marker comes in. And the inside handoff, no gain on the play. Devin Neal remains on the field. Purnell chopped him down. Chris Kleiman told us this is the best 2-5 team in America. We know it. Daniels gonna heave one deep. Got him in! Incomplete. Quentin Skinner. Sam, you gotta make that play in a rivalry game.
That was a perfect pass, a little handoff by Jalen Daniels, and Quentin Skinner he simply drops it. And now you might say, okay, this just happens, but there have been a couple drops this season, plays that Quentin Skinner, he can definitely make, but the focus hasn't been there. There have been drops. You've seen a couple of fumbles. So expect Kansas to go back to this deep post, but Quentin Skinner's got to be able to make that play in a game like this.
Third down for Daniels. He'll check it down to Neal. Into Kansas State territory. Stopped at the 45. Well, Jacob Parrish has been all over the field on this possession. He got the tackle. And on fourth down, Lance Leipold will send the punt team on.
Yeah, I just got to go back to that play. So the reason that play matters so much, the drop, is that Jalen Daniels has been relatively inaccurate for the majority of the season. Well, last week he had his best passing game, and this week he's getting more accurate. And so when your quarterback hasn't played well, and now he's playing well, you got to be there for him.
And completing 57% of his passes this year. He has found his rhythm really in the last 6 quarters coming into this game tonight. As Damon Greaves sends it to Dylan Edwards. A fair catch of the 5 and a punt of 41 yards. Kansas State gets it back, trailing 7-0 in Manhattan after this. Sunflower Showdown, 7-0 Kansas, leading number 16 Kansas State. So take a look at the Taco Bell Live Más student section. All season long, student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más student section of the year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. They were here about 2 hours before kickoff. As soon as the gates opened, they have been loud and they've been involved. Avery Johnson back on the field. DJ Giddens stacked up at the line. No gain on the play. O.J. Burrows. His Kansas defensive front has been up to the challenge thus far.
The defense has been solid all season long. It's been the offense that have had their struggles. But I love how aggressive that this defense has been so far.
Kansas State offense, 6.2 yards per carry. Third nationally with that number. They have found ways. DJ Giddens and Avery Johnson, both in the backfield, have found ways all year long. Only lost to BYU. Keegan Johnson on the comeback. Gain of 6. It'll be third down.
Third and medium is what we call this. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And so what happens here is, okay, you can definitely run it, so the whole playbook is still open. But Avery Johnson could have an option to use his legs if it is a pass play and that pass play isn't open. That's the benefit of having an athletic quarterback.
Kobe Bryant stepped off the playing surface. Helmet came off. Have to sit a play. Seen a lot of 13 personnel out of Kansas State the last couple of weeks. 3 tight ends on the field in that jumbo set. Giddens out of the backfield. The soft hands on display. Acho, he can run it, he can catch it. He's put up huge numbers. He'll push the pile across the 25.
One of the things that DJ Giddens has worked on in this offseason has been his hands. There have been some drops that you've seen, but he's gotten better and better as a receiving running back. That's going to help him at the next level.
Gain of 15 on 3rd down. Giddens, former backup to Deuce Vaughn in 2022. Kansas State has had some great offensive talent over the years. You go all the way back to Michael Bishop in the 90s. Colin Klein, now the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M. Johnson will keep it, and along the far side, a first down. Stopped at the 40, 14 more yards. The Kansas State ground game taking hold.
He just glides. Like, Avery Johnson is a smooth runner. He's fast. He's athletic, but he's gliding, setting up O.J. Burrows in the open field. Wasn't running full speed, didn't have to. Didn't need to turn it on just yet.
Dylan Edwards checks in at running back. Transfer from Colorado. Was the talk of the college football universe early last season. He scored 4 touchdowns against TCU. Fake it to Edwards, and the tunnel screen sails out of bounds. Jaden Jackson. Call that a forward pass, so it's incomplete.
That's just excitement. That's just the, you feel the energy. It's a rivalry game, so all you have to do is get his feet set and he'll be fine. 2nd and 10.
Chris Kleiman, what a great job he's done building this program. 45 wins in 6 seasons. You talk to folks close Kansas State football in Manhattan, there's an undercurrent of this could be his best team, and that's saying something. We lost against BYU, and we've got some interesting games down the stretch, including here tonight. And the swing pass looking for Edwards. And Johnson was high with that delivery.
Yeah, that is the end of the first quarter.
You're still seeing that excitement, that juice, and Avery Johnson's a calm individual. All he has to do is calm himself down a little bit, and that ball will be on target.
Welcome back to Manhattan. Kansas with a 7-0 lead over K-State. Coach Leipold joins me now. Coach, an early touchdown from Savion Morrison. How has your team set the tone early?
Well, it was great to see Savion get in and give us a little spark. We're down Daniel Highshaw this week, and Savion's first extended playing time came up with a great run, great effort there. I thought Jalen did a nice job keeping plays alive in the first quarter, but we got a long way to go and need to tackle a little better here in the second quarter.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Look at the burst by Edwards and a first down run into KU territory. Gain of 11 for the Colorado transfer. Well, that's what you love about him, his explosiveness.
And how electric he is. Dylan Edwards is an electric running back. That's what he wants to be known for. He grew up watching guys like Deuce Vaughn, and those are guys who he respects. So when he gets the ball, expect excitement.
Kansas native from Derby High School, a transfer from Colorado. Only 5'8", $167, if that. Get another touch, a pop pass, and upended Cornell Wheeler. Now, Wheeler, one of the leaders of this KU defense, for the Alphas and a vocal defender. Head coach Lance Leipold, an ability marker comes out. McCabe awaiting his official indication.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 45. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. The previous play is under replay review.
Indicated that was Dean Miller, number 45. Booth will take a look. It is a collaborative replay effort in the Big 12 going down to Dallas with our replay official Richard Brown here in Manhattan. Sam?
So what you're looking for is, when they call targeting, you're looking, okay, is it a defensive player and then that forcible contact to the head or neck area? I think the question here is that contact forcible? You see Dylan Edwards is going down. It's not crown of the helmet, but the question that has to be answered is there forcible contact to the head or neck area? In my opinion, that contact wasn't forcible, but it is up for negotiation.
Well, it enters a level of subjectivity when you start considering the forcible contact. In the crown of the helmet, of course, you're looking at the very top of that helmet as you extend downwards.
There is no targeting on the play. Number 45 may continue to participate in the game.
So they'll reverse the call. No targeting. And in your mind, you watch that replay, the forcible contact. It wasn't vicious in nature upon review.
Correct, and that's the right call. If you're talking about the crown of the helmet, it definitely wasn't that. The crown is the very top of that 6-inch radius, so it wasn't that. What they were looking at was, is there forcible contact? Not the crown of the helmet, but forcible contact to the head or neck area, and that was deemed not forcible, so Dean Miller gets to stay in.
Dylan Edwards on the sideline for the time being. After a gain of 1, it'll be second down. DJ Giddens, the running back. Avery Johnson wants to throw it, and the comeback route is there again. To his tight end, Ancio. So we've seen Will Ancio, Will Swanson both connect with a sophomore quarterback. That's a gain of 5. It'll be third down.
And these passes are fine. They're great. They're short and they're easy. But sooner or later, the defense is going to start to jump those routes. And those are going to be the opportunities where you will be able to take the top off of a defense. Defense says, oh, throw it 3 yards, 4 yards. That's fine. I'll do that all day. So it's got to be a little more downfield, not now, but as the game goes on.
On the jet sweep, Edwards searching for the line to gain, and he got there. Tackle by Brown. That's a chain mover.
We've seen this slow and steady pace. That's a nice play by Edwards on this, essentially this stretch play to the outside. We're seeing this slow and steady pace, which is what Kansas State wants to be. That's who they are, and that's their identity. That pace works when it's a 7-0 game, but that's why it's important for a score to happen here.
11th play of the possession coming up. Play action. Johnson across the middle. It's caught again. Keegan Johnson stopped at the 25, a 13-yard pickup and another first down.
Keegan Johnson, 6 foot, 206-pound junior from Bellevue, Nebraska, transfer from Iowa. He's just providing an open space for his quarterback to get him the ball. Now, it's zone coverage, so he's going to just sit down in that spot. And just notice how easy some of these throws are for Avery Johnson. Notice how calm he is in the pocket.
Johnson on the sidelines, wincing in pain. His father played football at Nebraska. So Keegan get a breather. We'll check on his status. Giddens in the backfield. And a touch into a mass of humanity. 1-yard gain. Hello, Dotson was there. And Giddens stopped dead in his tracks.
I've been impressed so far, Roy, by this Kansas Jayhawks defense. They're not letting anything get over their heads.
It's physical.
They're physical. They're tackling in space. I know Lance Lockpole said they need to tackle better, but DJ Giddens hasn't gotten loose yet. And one thing he does a great job of is making people miss. And so right now there's no space to make people miss. Great job so far by the Jayhawks.
His ability with the jump cut has been outstanding. Johnson buys some time. There's the tight end again, rumbling towards the end zone, and the touchdown for Ancio. From 24 yards out. Been Will Swanson, Will Ancio, and the 9th different time this season a Kansas State tight end has caught a touchdown pass. We told Connor Riley yesterday, I said, Coach, you're making tight ends sexy again. He said, no, we're not. They're gritty. I got you.
This is a gritty group led by Will Ancio, born in Overland Park, Kansas, the Wichita area. Wants to be an orthopedic surgeon, but right now he's doing surgery on the defense.
4 minutes into the second quarter, tied at 7 in the Sunflower Showdown. College football primetime presented by Geico. That was the longest touchdown drive of the season this year for Kansas State. Acho, 6.5 minutes, but the 95 yards in 13 plays. An impressive response for Avery Johnson and company. And stepping out at the 1, you cannot do that. KU will take over at the 1-yard line. Jameel Croft Jr. What's another costly mistake for the Jayhawks.
And a horrible decision. There's really no way around it. You catch that ball, you just can't do that, right? I get it if you're thinking, okay, let me get 1 foot out of bounds and then it'll be
out of bounds. Kicking team. Receiving team is elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line.
With the foot out of bounds as he caught the football, that means it's an infraction on the kicking team.
But was his foot out of bounds when he caught it? That's what I want to see, right? You'll see players intentionally step 1 foot out of bounds and then touch the ball. That will be illegal.
Restore the game clock to 11:09.
Was his foot out of bounds? Looks like the inside foot was in first, and then the ball went out of bounds. So that should definitely be reviewed, because if that outside foot is out and he establishes out of bounds, then it'll be out of bounds. I don't know if he was out of bounds first.
Call on the field benefits Kansas. And with the kick sailing out of bounds, they'll have it at the 35. And now
ruling on the field is a free kick out of bounds. The previous play is under replay review.
So this feels to me, Roy, you know how you walk in NFL football, they got the challenge flag. Like, I know we don't have that, but that play is a play that needs to be challenged. Throw the red flag and challenge it. But to me, looked like that foot was inbounds first and then out at the 1.
During this review, let's get you back to the studio. Good evening, Kevin Connors.
Good evening, Roy. While the referee's got an eye on that monitor there, AT&T is keeping fans connected with our multi-view. Garrett Nussmeier's got a TD pass. Le'Veon Moss a touchdown run over on ABC. And looks like something just happened there in the LSU-Texas A&M game. An Aaron Anderson touchdown. Miami's got a pair of TD runs. They lead Florida State early in the third quarter. And SMU Duke, big one in the ACC, even at 7 apiece. Roy?
KC, thank you. Entertaining games around the country here at the Sunflower Showdown. Not lacking for drama. And the question is there indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field that there was a foot out of bounds as he corralled the kickoff? And that would be my question for you.
Well, I can't answer if there's indisputable video evidence. From what I saw, it was indisputable. But there may be different angles that the referees do or do not see. For me, I see that left foot inbounds, ball in possession, and then the right foot going out of bounds. But to your point, it has to be indisputable. That right foot, from the angles I can't see, I can't tell if that right toe is down. It looks to me from my eyes that it's left first, and that to me says out of bounds inside the 1 yard line.
The official right by the pylon. He's got the best angle in the house, and he indicated that that was a catch out of bounds, which means that it is kickoff going out of bounds. You can't have that happen, even right there at the 1 yard line, and that's an infraction on the kicking team. It's bang bang, and it is very close. The original call is critical here.
Some of these angles to me, Roy, say they're checking possession, they're checking feet. To me, it looks like there is possession, then it looks like a left foot inbounds before the right foot out of bounds. If they would have come down at the same time, right foot out is out of bounds, that's a kickoff out of bounds. But to me, it looks like it's left first.
It's a huge call either way. Either Kansas has it inside its own 1, or it moves out to the 35 right after Kansas State just scored the tying touchdown. And it is a collaborative replay effort. The Big 12 office down in Dallas in the Metroplex, and here on site with Richard Brown. They will decide exactly what the fate is of this call, and it's taking some time.
Well, you could tell how close it is by how long this play, this review is taking. From my perspective, it looked very obvious. Well, you have different angles, you slow it down, it could be a little bit grainy. But to me, possession.
Left foot in.
Left foot in.
Here we go.
After review, it's confirmed that the receiver gained possession of the ball inbounds at the 1 yard line, carried out of bounds. It will be first down for Kansas at the 1 yard line.
There was a little bit of green in between the left foot and out of bounds, and that was enough to overturn the call.
But here's what has to happen next, right? So Kansas, you're inside the 1 yard line. Bad decision, bad play. But Jalen Daniels and this offense needs to have their teammates back. They need to say, okay, I don't care what just happened, but we have your back. Jamil, we got you. That's what needs to happen for Kansas. For K-State, as you can see, they're getting the crowd into it. This is where K-State needs to get the crowd involved. You're backed up. You're in what we call the black zone. It should be loud and raucous down there.
Neal, the running back, tackled near his own goal line and driven backwards. And a safety for K-State. And the Wildcats have their first lead.
Rolling on the field is a safety.
Ilalio met him right behind the goal line. Forward progress was stopped in the KU end zone. Give him 2.
The hometown kid, Damian Ilalio, gets in the backfield and keeps Devin Neal from getting out of the end zone. The ball has to completely cross the plane for it not to be a safety. Ilalio, great hands, doesn't get pushed at all, and the crowd loves it. He's 6'2", 300 pounds from Manhattan, Kansas. Big time play.
Ilalio gives Kansas State the lead. How big was that call in the overturn with a replay review. Enormous. And then now, after the safety, Kansas State, Sam gets the football back, likely with great field position.
Huge momentum shift, and the awareness by Jameel Croft was not there. That's why you saw the ball inside the 1 yard line. He didn't know how close he was to being out of bounds. With a big-time play by K-State defense, and now K-State gets the ball back. You want to talk about momentum, Roy? That's the definition. Look it up in the dictionary.
Uncle Mo's on the side of the Wildcats for the first time tonight. Edwards and Johnson back deep to receive. Here's Dylan Edwards from the 12. Full head of steam to the edge. Ushered out of the 42. And a return of 30 yards. Now don't forget next week's feature, 3:30 Eastern game, the annual world's largest, I guess we'll call it party on ABC. Florida #2 Georgia, live from Jacksonville. And then later on, it's #10 Iowa State hosting Texas Tech. Cyclones remain undefeated in Ames on ESPN.
Roy, I have an idea. Now, this is not what K-State does, but you want to talk about stealing momentum? Now is the time to take a shot. Like, I get it. Short passes, all those things. Like, this is the time to take a shot.
Jay Giddens over left tackle, a gain of 2, still on his feet. And give him 3 on first down. Well, you could feel the momentum shift as soon as that call was overturned. It only took one play for Kansas State to post the safety. And now Giddens, 3-yard pickup makes it 2nd and 7, but Kansas State almost near midfield.
And the reason I say take a shot is that takes all the energy out of the defense. So you could methodically go down the field, or you could take it right now. Johnson
on the move. To layer that pass over multiple defenders. And it's out of bounds looking for Jackson. And double coverage with Mello Dotson right in front.
Yeah, he didn't try to, Roy. He did. He layered that ball over the defenders. It just went through the hands of his receiver. That was a perfectly placed pass by Avery Johnson, and that's one that's got to be caught.
We saw the critical drop earlier by Quentin Skinner for the Jayhawks, and it would have been a short touchdown. Tough play for Jackson. It's 3rd and 7. Giddens the running back. Johnson to the perimeter. Avery Johnson with a first down, a little bit more. Driven out at the 42 and a gain of 14 on 3rd and 7.
People use the phrase speed kills. Well, this is the definition. You think it's a great pass rush move, but no, you're not as fast as Avery Johnson. Let's put it that way. DJ Withers is a defensive tackle. He's a big guy. Former defensive end, moved down inside. The pass rush game was there, but in practice, they don't move like Avery Johnson moves. That was the difference in practice in the game.
We asked Avery yesterday, what are you thinking when it's you and a safety? He goes, I'm thinking I'm going to score. That's the goal. Giddens plows his way for a gain of a yard. That's it. J.B. Brown involved in the tackle. 2nd and 9. Johnson's demeanor really struck us as a crew. Me, you, and Taylor in that conference room right here at the stadium. Doesn't really want the spotlight, but he commands it even against his will. Dante Cephas with a grab and another first down. 5th catch of the season and a chain mover after a gain of 13.
There are 2 things that I noticed when I watch Avery Johnson. One, that last play, the zip of the ball. But the other thing I noticed, and you're going to see this, watch how quickly he accelerates when he decides to run. As a defender, you notice that. As an analyst, you notice that. That's special.
DJ Giddens motions out as a wide receiver in an empty backfield. Johnson won't run it here, delivers a laser beam that's caught. Jace Brown, it'll be 1st and goal. Ball popped out for a minute. Brown caused that fumble. He corralled it. And here come the Wildcats after a gain of 25.
Jace Brown gets behind the linebacker and finds a space. He's 6 foot, 178, a sophomore from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. His dad was actually drafted in the MLB. But Jace Brown is their big play threat. So when the ball does go down the field, oftentimes he's the one who's receiving it.
Giddens in motion. Johnson will keep it and sandwiched down after a gain of a yard by Dean Miller. And some of his offensive line buddies up front. Second and goal.
And maybe that's the reason, Roy, that I'm an analyst and not offensive coordinator, because I wanted him to take the shot at midfield. I wanted him to take the heart out of the defense. But instead, Connor Riley, former offensive line coach, still coaches the offensive line, coordinator for K-State, he does his thing, methodical, trusting his running game, trusting his quarterback, trusting Avery Johnson, trusting the process.
Swanson and Giddens in the backfield. Johnson, a little jump pass, wide open for the touchdown. Garrett Oakley. Third touchdown of the season. Connor Riley playing chess, everybody else playing checkers with these tight ends in 2024. It is a sight to behold.
I don't know if these are rooks, are they bishops? They're definitely not pawns, they may be queens. But these tight ends, Roy, are special. Why? Yes, Avery Johnson trusts them. They can do it all. Will Ancio, Garrett Oakley, Will Swanson. They can block, they can run, and they can receive.
Acho, you want to play tight end, come to Kansas State. They're going to find a way to get you in the end zone.
Oh, absolutely. You think they're going to block, but they're not. They start off blocking, and then they find a way. It's almost like that old Tim Tebow play. Find a way to make you think that they're going to block you, and you think it's a speed option. No. You find Garrett Oakley in the back of the end zone. Tight end, you tell me.
(16-7), Kansas State, 16th in the country, leading its rival KU by 9 back here in Manhattan. And the Wildcats in the purple jerseys. How about Avery Johnson early this spring driving around town in that purple Corvette, the NIL deal complete, and feeling like $1 million in a multitude of different ways. Not necessarily racing around town, but hey, don't forget, coming up tomorrow, the next stop on the F1 schedule is the Mexico City Grand Prix. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ABC. Our pre-race coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern with additional coverage on ESPN Plus in English and Spanish. ESPN Deportes coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern. That is a touchback. We send you back to Kevin Connors.
All right, Roy, Tawee Walker's given Wisconsin a 10-7 halftime lead on Penn State.
This was a long drive. Wisconsin was able to pound it out. The big story here, though, is the defense of Wisconsin holding down the running game of Penn State. That's keeping them from sustaining drive.
Roy, Penn State hosts Ohio State next week.
What a game that will be back here in Manhattan. Roy Philpott, Sam Acho, Taylor Davis. An important possession for the Jayhawks. And for the safety their previous time on the field, the comeback on the back shoulder was there, Trevor Wilson. And a big play for the Jayhawks all the way down to the 39-yard line in KSU territory.
Trevor Wilson, 5'11", 195, redshirt senior from Tallahassee, Florida. He makes a great adjustment to this ball. But what's more impressive is the ball thrown by Jalen Daniels. This is the Jalen Daniels that we saw last year when he was healthy, the years past. This version of Jalen Daniels can get Kansas back in the game.
After a gain of 36, Wilson, remember, started his career at Buffalo when Coach Leipold was there in the MAC. Followed him down to Lawrence, and a big play as the Jayhawks in business. Daniels directing traffic when the ball was whipping around for a moment. He gets it to Neal all the way down to the 32. And a gain of 7 yards. That could have been disaster for KU.
But notice the patience and the presence that Jalen Daniels has. He senses the pressure in the pocket. He avoids the rusher. Then he gets the ball to his outlet. Doesn't try and throw it away. Doesn't try and throw it downfield. But he knows exactly where Devin Neal is going to be.
Desmond Cornell had a chance maybe to tackle him in the backfield. Couldn't do it. It's been the story of Jalen Daniels' career. When healthy. Only played in 3 games a year ago. Speed option again. Daniels keeps it and spins his way for a Kansas first down. Parrish the tackle. Drive continues for the Jayhawks.
They're going to keep on going back to that speed option play until they stop it. Jacob Parrish for Kansas State, he's actually the pitch player, so he's on Devin Neal. Well, the ball isn't pitched, and so he finally falls off, sloughs off, as we call it, and tackles the quarterback. That's an easy 5, 6, 7 yards that they're getting every time they run it. So until K-State decides to stop the quarterback first, they're going to go back to that speed option.
Five minutes to go in the half. Daniels wants it all. Man-to-man coverage. Penalty marker comes in. There was contact. And VJ Payne impeding the progress of the KU receiver.
Pass interference. Defense number 19. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And it was Luke Grimm that had a chance for a moment. You saw him stumble as a result of the contact from VJ.
We see Luke Grimm trying to get to the ball, and that is a penalty. VJ Payne impedes the progress of Luke Grimm. So that's the right call by the referees.
I agree. Neal motions out. Banged up earlier. And back on the field. Straight quarterback run. And shoved out at the 11, a gain of 3. Romaine and Moore were there. A pair of Austins handled their business. Second down.
Roy, earlier we had talked to the offensive coordinator for Kansas. And one of the first things you said in our meeting, you were like, hey man, don't need to run Jalen. Why were you saying that so often?
You're calling me out on air.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done it as much. And when they do, big things happen. And it seems to engage number 6 in white in a big-time way. And we've seen him when he starts running around wild, crazy. KU beats some teams that many people think it shouldn't beat. Now a redshirt junior. Option again, a late pitch. And Devin Neal could not get to the edge. Chopped down to the 10. Now it's 3rd and long. Marquise Siegel.
So see what happens when you attack the quarterback now on the speed option. If you let him have time and just kind of fluff around, he will hurt you. But if you make him pitch it, force the decision, it puts you in a 3rd and long rather than a 3rd and short.
Jayhawks 3 of 4 on 3rd down tonight. Need to get inside the 4 down to the 3. They're close to it to go for it on 4th. Let's see. Wildcats show pressure. Here they come. Time for Daniels. Has a man. It's Graham reaching for the front pylon. And he got there. Luke Graham found a way, and Daniels precise on the pass for the touchdown.
Oh, captain, my captain. Luke Grimm was voted a captain by his teammates. He's lined up on the inside, and he's an elite level route runner. I talked to one of their coaches down on the field. He talked about how he's not necessarily lost weight, but he's gained muscle. He's focused on the little things. He's lessened his body fat.
Ruling on the field as they
when I watch these receivers, he's the one that stands out.
161 career receptions after that touchdown grab. They're going to take a look at that to make sure that everything was inbounds and clear possession as he crossed the plane of the goal line. The initial indication right inside the pylon looked good from our perspective.
Absolutely, and we haven't seen it yet, but what you will see when you watch Luke Grimm play is that he can make you miss in a phone booth. It looks like that ball went over the pylon before his foot went out of bounds. He's diving. Looks like the ball goes over. It's pretty clear and obvious to me. But when Luke Grimm gets the ball, as this game goes on, just watch what he does to defenders. He makes you miss, elite level route running. For me, he's been extremely impressive all season long.
Jeff Grimes and Lance Leipold both used the phrase sneaky speed with Luke Grimm. He's a guy that can beat you in a number of different ways, and these KU receivers aren't afraid to get out there and get down and dirty with their blocking. And that was right in front of Keenan Harbor. We've seen nothing to indicate that that play should be overturned so far.
Correct, and I love the route. We've talked a lot about the route, talked a lot about Luke Grimm, but how accurate was that ball by Jalen Daniels?
He has entered
After
a
review,
different
the ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
atmosphere, stratosphere with the accuracy in the passing game. I would say now about 7 quarters of really good football that we've seen, including last week against Houston. Pro Football Focus rated him as the highest rated passer a week ago. He's making strides.
Well, he hasn't entered that stratosphere. He's re-entered that stratosphere. He was there 2 years ago. I mean, it wasn't his athletic ability that stood out. It was his ability to throw the football. And through injury and trying to get back, he missed a lot of time this spring. Now he's finally getting back in a rhythm.
And the rhythm with the receivers has been noticeable. Tabor Allen's extra point is good. And a 2-point game, a little pitch and catch, a little pylon. It counts as 6 points where we come from.
Chemistry matters, and Luke Grimm and Jalen Daniels have had this chemistry for many years, and Luke Grimm is trying to get his team back in the game.
The new 12-team college football playoff begins December 20th on ESPN.
Yeah, that's how I get by.
Countdown is on to the new 12-team college football playoff. 2-point game back here in Manhattan, the Sunflower Showdown. Kansas State with the advantage. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. An exciting night and weekend in college football once again. After the touchdown by Grimm, a touchback, and we check in again with Kevin Connors.
All right, Roy, your Chick-fil-A move on the field. Trevor Maddich, Kevin Jennings has given SMU the lead in Durham.
Scoreless in the first quarter, 2 long touchdown drives so far in the second. SMU has woken up.
A couple of 6-1 teams. It's a 14-7 Mustangs lead. Roy.
Mustangs' only loss of the season at home to undefeated BYU. That matters here in the heart of the Big 12, as Avery Johnson's only loss came to BYU in Provo. Kind of a weird game, about 6 really bad minutes for the Wildcats in that one. Since then, Avery Johnson's been sensational on the slant. There goes Jace Brown, a first down, ushered out at the 46. Taylor.
You guys have mentioned how even keel Avery Johnson is. I've been watching him down here on the sideline. He spends a lot of time on the iPads. Coach Kleiman told us they meet twice a week just to go over defenses. This is just his 9th career start, and he said, I've got to bring a veteran mentality, but that comes from how much I'm learning and adjusting in game.
It's interesting, Acho. I don't know how often a head coach who's a defensive-minded coach meets with his quarterback on Monday and Tuesday every week and go over plays and look at sequences to suggest here's what's coming. Caleb Taylor was coming for the KU defense, and a loss of 2. TFL makes it 2nd down and 12. But for Chris Kleiman, that's a priority. He says he's done that everywhere he's been, including North Dakota State. Trey Lance, Easton Stick, and the handful of other talented players. Carson Wentz. Trey Lance was just arriving there in Fargo. A dump off to Brown again. It'll be 3rd and long after a gain of 5.
And part of that, Roy, is just this idea of, I'm not your offensive coordinator. Your offensive coordinator is going to get you set. Your quarterback coach is going to take care of that. But I want you to know what defenses are thinking. I want you to know how to read defenses even differently. And so there's a benefit in Chris Kleiman spending time with his quarterback to keep him calm and make him smarter.
2-minute timeout.
Kevin Connors in studio. Coming up on the Twisted Tea halftime report, BYU national champion Trevor Maddich will be here to recount BYU's 8-0 start to the season here. Plus a couple of close shaves for Ohio State and Texas. And Notre Dame takes advantage of 6 Navy turnovers to dump the midshipmen for the first time this year. Coming up, Roy, when you join us for the Twisted Tea halftime report.
KC, we cannot wait. Those 6 turnovers, 3 came in the first half. Back in Manhattan on 3rd down. Johnson's pass incomplete. Keegan Johnson is in the area, and O.J. Burrows in coverage. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining, and an injured Wildcat in Kansas territory. It is Johnson again. Sam, we saw him exit the field a few moments ago, then came back. Was returning kicks. Clearly still bothered as he remains down on the turf, and that nose bleeding.
And that, you talk about the physicality of the game, but sometimes whether it's a helmet that gets moved up into you or a physical hit, those things can be jarring as a football player.
He came down face first with momentum right into the turf. KU defender draped right over him. Fourth down and 7. Kansas State set to punt. KU with all 3 timeouts remaining in a 2-point game. Wildly entertaining first 2 quarters. Trevor Wilson back deep to receive this punt. Simon McClannon. The Wobblers fielded cleanly at the 15. 1:49 to go and a punt of 36. How aggressive you want Lance Leipold and Jalen Daniels to be right here?
I want them to be extremely aggressive. I am exceedingly glad that you asked that question, because in some of these losses, the reason why Kansas lost against UNLV, they threw an end-of-half interception. The reason they lost against Illinois, end-of-half interception. So then the next few games, they started taking a knee at the end of halves so they wouldn't turn it over. Well, now Jalen Daniels is looking like Jalen Daniels. So if you're asking me how aggressive they should be, I say extremely.
Daniels takes off a quarterback draw. One defender missed, plows his way across the 20. And a gain of 8 on first down. Austin Moore with a tackle, along with VJ Payne.
And the reason I say that that play in the first half was the reason is those losses, one was by 6 points, one was by 3 points. Even West Virginia, there was a second half interception, beginning of it. So little things matter.
Daniels completes it to Trevor Wilson. There's the accuracy again. The perfect amount of touch and velocity on that completion.
That man is dangerous. Jalen Daniels is dangerous, and not just as a runner, more specifically as a thrower. Not every quarterback can make that throw. Very few quarterbacks can make that throw that accurately. What makes Jalen Daniels even more surgical is that he can do that as a thrower and as a runner.
Gain of 18 yards. Spotted at the 41. Daniels, a productive start. More active on the ground tonight. We saw that at times a week ago in the win against Houston. And they'll stop this play dead in its tracks. False start penalty. Back to Jayhawks up 5 yards.
False start. Offense, number 19. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Part of the reason, Roy, if I could just interject real quick on why you'd want to be more aggressive now, is that Kansas State is going to get the ball to begin the second half. And so you want to make sure you get some type of points now so that you don't lose all momentum when the second half begins.
Just the second penalty call tonight on Kansas. Daniels back to throw, and a long ways to go. He spots Lawrence Arnold. Well, that pass covered just 8 yards, but it traveled about 35. Get that penalty yardage back.
Yeah, Lawrence Arnold wishes he could have stayed in bounds because there was no one else out there. But this rhythm feels good for Kansas. It feels as if they're in control.
6 straight completions for Daniels. Both teams with exactly 202 total yards. And just a safety separating these rivals. Daniels to Grimm. Tap dance out of bounds in KSU territory. Right at the line to gain, and that is a first down.
They're surgical. It's methodical. Jalen Daniels is taking what the defense is giving him, which right now seems like it's easy access throws to the flat. And they have no need to be in a rush. They have all 3 timeouts. They're inside their own 50-yard line. The whole playbook's open.
Pressure, Daniels retreats. Wisely sails that pass out of bounds. It's a play like that last week against Houston. He completed way down the field. The strength to get the football away, the quickness and velocity is impressive for Jalen Daniels.
And the intelligence to know to throw that one away and not try to force it like he did last week. Other quarterbacks may have said, you know what, I'm going to try and outrun this defender. Jalen Daniels knew he didn't have the right angle, throw it out of bounds. Now you have another down to try and get a first down.
Jayhawks with all 3 timeouts from the 49. Daniels with all night to survey. Pass will be caught. It was grabbed on the crossing pattern by Wilson. And a gain of 9. That was the fastball, and Wilson, like a catcher, had to make sure he had clean control.
Correct, and that wasn't a first down, so the clock is running. They're getting back on the ball now to hurry up and run a play.
3rd and short. Daniels has the first, a little bit more. Dragged down at the 34. Austin Romaine, the tackle. Kansas has yet to utilize one of those 3 timeouts until
First
now.
charge timeout, Kansas.
Well, you talked about some of the close losses. We mentioned them earlier in the show, and Illinois all began with that 23-17 setback, a late lead in the 4th quarter by 4. It was UNLV, some late interceptions that were the difference makers in those games. Then at West Virginia, an 11-point advantage 5 minutes ago. The Mountaineers come roaring back. TCU and Arizona State. You get what we're trying to suggest. They've been close, and a 2-5 team could easily be, or easily have, a winning record if just 1 or 2 of those games, perhaps 3, shift in their direction.
Chris Kleiman told us that this is the best 2-5 team in college football, and he wasn't lying. He wasn't just, that wasn't coach speak, that was real. A 6-point loss, a 3-point loss, a 4-point loss off of easily correctable mistakes. Mistakes by your best player, your team captain, Jalen Daniels. Well, what's happening now is that Jalen has corrected his mistakes, and now his team feels like they can beat anybody.
3 touchdowns without an interception last week. No picks so far for Daniels. Again, wants it all, double coverage until now, and it's picked off. Siegel has it. Back-to-back games with big plays for number 21. Still on his feet, Marquise Siegel dropped down at midfield. Now Trevor Wilson wisely with a tackle. We were just singing the praises of Jalen Daniels, his first bad decision. 2 defenders in the area.
And 2 picks in back-to-back weeks. Marquise Siegel is playing deep. He sees the ball, he tracks it, interception. He had a pick 6 last week. He's 6 foot, 197, transfer from North Dakota State. He is the team leader. We asked the coaches who the leader is, and it's been Marquise Siegel. But what impresses me about this play is all the blocking by his teammates. That's a 30-yard swing. Could have been at the 20 if he would have stayed in the end zone, got out almost to the 50.
Wilson, the intended receiver, made the tackle 50 yards the other direction. The star by that play is Johnson has that pass incomplete. Keegan Johnson from Avery Johnson. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And now's the time where that coach-to-player communication in the headset needs to matter, because there's only 13 seconds. They have all 3 timeouts. You need about 15 yards to get into field goal range. I saw Kansas State, they were kicking it from about the 33 or so yard line. So time matters. Avery Johnson cannot scramble around too much.
First charge timeout, Kansas State.
2-point game, timeout Kansas State. Gives us a moment to remind you, kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday. Countdown crew. Now the story of how 49ers rookie receiver Ricky Pearsall's life was saved after being shot just 1 month ago. Plus a report from Miami on what Tua's return means for him and the Dolphins, plus all the latest news from Adam Schefter. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the app. Something about the end of these halves for Kansas football in 2024. Try to take a chance, you get aggressive, they paid the price dearly.
Well, momentum means something. This last 4 or 5 minutes of the first half and the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half usually capture a lot of the momentum. The reason why Kansas has lost is because they've made bad decisions in the margins those last few minutes, and that was a bad decision in the margin. So if they want to win this one, they need to have a big stop right now.
Giddens, the running back, play action for Avery Johnson, incomplete and batted away at the last minute. Jason Gilliam.
That was an amazing play by Gilliam. We can't understate that, because Time ran off the clock, incomplete pass. You have time really for one play and a timeout. I love how much depth he gets. You tell linebackers when you're in zone, get depth, back up. Don't bite the cheese. If there's someone in front of you, don't worry about it. Great play by Gilliam.
Wildcats need at least 15 more yards to be in field goal range for Chris Tennant. They won't make it here. Down to the 46, a 5-yard gain to Jace Brown. And a quick timeout with just 2 seconds to go.
Yeah, that was the wrong decision by Avery Johnson. It looks like they're trying to decide if the clock is running or not. Maybe a timeout wasn't called, but that was the wrong decision by Avery Johnson. If you're going to make that decision, you want to get at least 7 or 8 more yards. They had 8 seconds. That's enough time to run 10 yards, pass it. But now you're in a position where you cannot kick a field goal. You'd have to throw a Hail Mary.
Chris Tennant's longest field goal this season, 48 yards out. He has 2 misses from 48 and 53.
Kansas State.
So clearly out of his range. The winds are swirling a little bit here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Not as much
Game
on the
clock
field.
operator, please restore the game clock to 5 seconds.
They're going to reset the game clock to 5 seconds. My question for you, is that enough time for a 5 or 10 yard out, get out of bounds and have a chance to bring Tennant on the field?
Well, the answer is it doesn't matter because they have a timeout. So it doesn't have to be an out route. You have to get out of bounds, but that is enough time to throw anything, anywhere you want, likely down the middle of the field, get about 7 more yards, call a quick get down, right? Call a quick timeout, and then kick your field goal. So 5 seconds is enough if you have a timeout. No timeout, you need at least 7 seconds to run a play. With the timeout, 5 seconds is enough. But you gotta, as soon as you catch it, get down immediately.
It's also 4th down. 1 timeout remaining for Kansas State. Now Kansas.
Second charge timeout.
2 timeouts.
Kansas. 30 seconds.
Have a chance to talk things over as well. Entertaining first half. I mean, this is kind of what we thought it would be. A rivalry matchup that it's been close recently. Kansas State has found ways in 15 straight. Certainly has lived up to the billing. The Sunflower Showdown. 2 teams have played 113 consecutive seasons. So in terms of continuous years between Kansas and Kansas State, it's right up there with any other rivalry you can speak of. And while the programs respect each other, well, the fan bases, as we've heard tonight, at times, well, they've got something to say. Sam.
And Roy, and to your point about, you know, this kind of the end, this wonky end of the first half, you're saying, why would these teams keep on calling timeouts? Why does it matter so much? This game could come down to 3 points and to this momentum. K-State gets the ball back beginning of the second half, so these points matter.
3 KU defenders standing at the goal line. Johnson wants to heave one deep, and he does. At the 3, it's going to be caught, and a penalty marker comes in. Let's see what happens here. Jace Brown inside the 5. Did he push off?
Yeah, it's going to be offensive PI by Jace Brown.
Pass interference. Offense number 1. That penalty is declined. That is the end of the first half.
Brown was free for a moment with assistance.
Well, that's called self-help. So it looked like it was going to be an interception, and Jace Brown said, let me help myself and push you out of the way so I could catch this ball. So great job by the defense. Kansas State ball to start the half.
16-14, the Twisted Tea halftime report starts right now. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Geico on a beautiful Saturday evening in Manhattan, Kansas. A 2-point game in the Sunflower Showdown. Kansas State leading arch rival KU. Numbers just about even across most key statistics in our first 2 quarters. Let's see what happens down the stretch here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, joined by Taylor Davis on the sidelines in just 1 minute. A first half that Lance Leipold's going to look back on and think, what if certain plays didn't go down the way that they did?
Missed opportunities. This game could be won or lost in the margins, and we saw a dropped interception. We saw a safety, so many missed opportunities that Kansas State missed. Let's start with the drop touchdown. So Quentin Skinner had this, and he dropped it right through his hands. Then later on, stepped out of bounds by Jameel Croft on the kickoff. Leads to a safety. Great play on the defensive side of the ball by Damian Ialio. And then the interception. Those few things are all the difference in this game.
Missed opportunities for a Kansas team that has struggled at the end of halves this year, leading to those losses. Illinois, UNLV come to mind, a comeback by West Virginia. We documented those in the first half. The question is, can you change the momentum of the season of 2024 in this second half tonight? Get that third win of the season, still have a chance to get to a bowl game. Kansas State set to receive the football first. And away we go in the Little Apple. 2-point game. K-State back on the field as we check in with Taylor. What did Lance Leipold have to say at halftime?
Yeah, you guys said it. He mentioned to me at the half that we've been hurting ourselves so far in this game. And in an environment like this, any momentum you create, you have to maintain. He wants to see that this second half, more of a ground attack. He feels like Jalen Daniels is escaping the pressure well. But as for his defense, he said we cannot let Avery Johnson outside the pocket. West Virginia forced him to throw last week, and he took all his action to the air. They want to force him to go to that, stay in the pocket, not beat us with his legs like he's done.
4 carries, 34 yards for Johnson in the first half. This time it's DJ Giddens. And corralled by the shoestrings as he dives the 30. Gilliam the tackle, officially a gain of 5. And you wonder if Giddens starts to make a bigger impact at some point tonight. 9 carries for 19 yards so far. And an injured KU player down to the 27. Tommy Dunn Jr. 92 help to his feet. Junior from Garland, Texas. Walking off under his own power. 2nd down and 5 coming up. Avery Johnson. Take a look at what he's done in comparison to Jalen Daniels, and really the key indicator, that interception at the end of the half, right as we were singing the praises of one Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, that was a play that could potentially be a momentum shift. But what's more important than anything now is how does Kansas respond to start this half?
28 days between home games for the Wildcats. DJ Giddens around the left side, weaving his way through traffic, still on the move, racing into Kansas territory. The stutter step, he'll stay in bounds. And DJ Giddens working his magic. 54-yard gain.
The junior from Junction City, Kansas, finds space. What's more impressive about this is he wasn't touched until he was about 45 yards down the field. So you could tell that the Kansas State, at halftime, they said, we're going to get the ball to DJ in space.
9 carries for 19 yards before that rumble for 54. And that changes the complexion of everything with this Kansas State ground game. Avery Johnson on cue takes off and hit hard backwards, crossing the 10 by Wheeler. Gain of 6 on 1st down.
Another player down.
Garrett Oakley, part of that stable of tight ends. Got a touchdown pass in the first half. Slow to his feet. It's been a physical game. We've talked about that at the line of scrimmage for both sides as anticipated tonight. Oakley with 3 touchdown grabs this year finally gets to his feet. He was blocking and working against J.B. Brown. And a Slight limp as he trots off the field. Columbus, Nebraska, just a sophomore. What a handful of jumbo athletes we documented in that second quarter. Ancio, Oakley, Braden Lofton expected back tonight in a limited capacity. Will Swanson. And they've got others. So Avery Johnson, 40 yards on the ground, $185 through the air, a couple of touchdowns. Going through those progressions, it's not only Connor Riley, but co-offensive coordinator Matt Wells that have assisted in his development. He'll keep it here. On the move, Johnson across the goal line for the touchdown. Kansas State extends its lead. And we just mentioned Braden Lofton, key block to spring Johnson. And from 10 yards out, 22-14.
Sometimes you don't need much, and Braden Lofton, to your point, just got enough on the edge defender, and that little touch kept the edge defender from making the tackle. So unbelievable block by Lofton, stepping in his first game back in some time. Critical block for the touchdown.
75 yards in 4 plays, all on the ground, and a statement possession for Kansas State to begin the third quarter.
Start on the ground and keep it on the ground. It started with DJ Giddens, then Avery Johnson with the keeper, stays on balance, uses the stiff arm, and finds the end zone. Touchdown, K-State.
It's the Big 12 Conference on ESPN, a sellout crowd at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. So far, they love what they have witnessed. 23-14, the Sunflower Showdown, edition number 122. Wildcats have won the last 15, the last KU victory against Kansas State occurring in 2008. It's been a while. As the kick caroms out of bounds. Well, that coffin corner has been interesting tonight. Trevor Wilson watched that.
Kicking team, receiving team is elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line. First down.
It's interesting how that has worked its way through this game. Don't forget, this season, All-State will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State.
I want to see, Roy, some of that comfort and confidence that we saw from Jalen Daniels in the first half. I want to see that early in this half if he wants this to be a game.
Productive on the ground and through the air. Exception of the one interception. Nifty cut against the grain across the 40. Gain of 5 yards on first down, Payne the tackle. Close to 6 as Daniels continues to impress that athleticism.
And they're still attacking the edges. Not necessarily a speed option on that play, but they're attacking the edges of this defense. So a 5- and 6-yard gain is a positive play for the offense.
Could be a record-breaking night for Devin Neal. It has not happened yet, just 21 yards rushing. Also effective through the air. They'll run the reverse to Grimm. Grimm looking for the convoy. He'll find it. And he'll find a KU first down. Now the speed of Luke Grimm. Austin Moore ushered him out, and that's a gain of 8.
But I want you to keep your eyes on number 10 on defense, Jacob Parrish. So he sets the edge and he stays outside, forces the ball to get cut back. So there could have been a bigger play, but Jacob Parrish, the junior, does a great job of cutting that play off. This is a play that Kansas loves to run. So great film review by Parrish to make that play not as big as it could have been.
4-man front for the Wildcats. Planter in the DC. Daniels drifts back. And Neal is wide open into KSU territory. Devin Neal snuck behind the linebackers, and Jacob Parrish was there to stop the gain of 11, but it's a chain mover again for the Jayhawks.
Another play that Kansas loves to run. They love to roll out one way in order to allow time for receivers to get down the field. Well, those receivers down the field were all covered, and so what Jalen Daniels did is he found Devin Neal, who was his outlet. So it's a positive play, but it wasn't the biggest play that they were hoping for.
I think they'll take it. Jalen Daniels just motioned out. And Cole Ballard on the field. Ballard takes it across the 35. And we were told we could see two quarterbacks on the playing surface at the same time tonight. That's the first time it went down. Now, Ballard, of course, started against KSU last year. He picks up 6 and now rushes off.
And rushes is the right word because Cole Ballard is a great athlete. He saw action week 1 versus Lindenwood, and as soon as he got in the game, he ran the rock. And so when Ballard is in there, know that he is a supreme athlete, loves to run it.
Freshman walk-on. What about heading to Wisconsin during the recruiting process? Daniels back on the field, 2nd down and 4. Devin Neal back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it. So he leapfrog across the 35. Austin Romaine stopped him there. 3rd down for the Jayhawks.
Critical 3rd down because this is a potential 4-point swing. Right now, you're just on the cusp of field goal range. So if you don't get a 1st down, likely a field goal. If you do get a 1st down, potential for scoring, that'd be 7 points versus 3.
And you also wonder, Lance Leipold consider going for it on 4th and short as Jared Casey comes on the field. Now Kansas State will make a substitution. Cole Ballard also back in as well.
First charge timeout, Kansas.
And perhaps confusion in the Jayhawks backfield as we step aside. Nine-point game, 10:01 to go in our 3rd quarter back in Manhattan. Acho, you made a tremendous observation as we went to that last break. Cody Stufflebean took his sweet, precious time coming back on the field, and maybe that forced KU's hand.
Well, it absolutely did. So Jared Casey subbed on late, so as a defense, you're allowed to sub. But notice how slow Cody Stufflebean just jogged out there. He's a smart individual, 4.0 in high school, industrial engineering major. But the pace in which he ran, didn't rush it. There were 7 seconds left on that play clock. Forced Kansas to use a timeout. If this game is 1 loss in the margins, that 1 lost timeout could be big.
Daniels, the quarterback. We've seen Cole Ballard on the field on 2 plays on this possession. It's 3rd and 4. A lot of shifting, a lot of movement. The tunnel screen to Grimm, and he'll bolt ahead for the 1st down. Now Luke Grimm picks up the 1st. Jordan Riley trying to bring him down as he tiptoed along that sideline.
And it was an interesting formation. It was a new center, so you saw there was 4 linemen on one side, essentially, then a center, and then 1 lineman to the left. So really 3 to the left of the center, and then that wide, essentially, bunch. So interesting play design, but good play because it gets them the 1st down.
7th play of the drive coming up. Neal flanks Daniels once again. From the 27, here's Daniels. Tried to cut it back and met with resistance. VJ Payne. Driven out near the 25. Brendan Mott also involved in that play. 38 in purple, the 6th-year senior, former walk-on. Just happens to lead the Big 12 in sacks at the midway point of this regular season. We talked with him yesterday, and a great story. His dad played in Iowa, grew up a fan of the Hawkeyes. Really was under-recruited because of his lack of size. He's turned out to be a big-time difference maker. Daniels off the back foot and incomplete. Heavy pressure. The Izor able to sneak through the line. Looking for Lawrence Arnold was Daniels.
Great pressure by Obi Izor, but now I'm going back to that 3rd down situation. So you got the last 1st down on a tricky formation, but that was 3rd and 4. This is 3rd and 7. A critical 4-point swing again for Kansas.
Already in field goal range on 3rd and long. Tabor Allen 6 of 7 this year. The field goal department. Devin Neal wants the end zone. Devin Neal, did he get there? He did. What a play for the senior from Lawrence from 24 yards out.
Roy, sometimes you think about words like want to. That's what that was.
Quite the response for the Kansas offense. Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal. And off the left upright. Second miss of the season for Tabor Allen. And it remains a three-point game.
Whatever it takes. Injury early in the game, you go to the locker room, you come back, put a shoulder harness on, you see two defenders, none of it matters. Devin Neal finds the zone.
1-2 of Devin Neal, now 41 career rushing touchdowns. And Kansas trails by just 3 after the missed extra point. Tabor Allen with the doink off the left upright, Acho. And another case, potential missed opportunity for KU tonight on the road in the Sunflower Showdown. Dylan Edwards over his head. We check in again with Kevin Connors back in the studio.
All right, Roy, the Capital One rewarding performance. Add this to the Heisman resume of Cam Ward. Trevor, a receiving touchdown on the Philly special.
Right, now you can add that to having touchdowns through the air and on the ground. Now he catches one.
36-7, Roy. Florida State's about to drop to 1-7.
7 losses on the year for Mike Norvell's Florida State Seminoles. I don't know that anybody could have seen that coming, but yet here we are. And Cam Ward, of course, one of the prize quarterbacks in the portal, coveted by Florida State. He signs with Miami, and a big-time difference maker. Back in Manhattan, Johnson on the move and out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. A chilly night here in the Sunflower Showdown, but a game that has lived up to expectations. You think back to what Lance Leipold told us this week. We haven't played our best when we've needed our best to win games in critical moments. And a lot of self-inflicted wounds so far this evening. Would that come back and be the difference between these two? Johnson dives across the 30. It'll be 3rd down. Cornell Wheeler, the tackle, give him 6 on the play. Weaving through traffic again was Avery Johnson.
And smartly getting down. Remember, Avery Johnson a few weeks ago got injured versus Colorado. He went out for a few plays. That's why they didn't run him last week. And so he's getting the yards he needs without putting himself in too much harm's way.
Kansas native from Wichita, who elected to stay home. He was the top prospect in this state and considered a 4-star in many of the recruiting services, if not a 5. And movement up front.
Illegal snap infraction, offense number 75, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Sam Hecht, the snap infraction. And instead of 3rd and 4, it comes 3rd down and 9, an entirely different set of circumstances here.
And a new opportunity for the Kansas pass rush to finally have an opportunity where it's obvious pass. So much of this game has been in 3rd and short. Now when you know it's pass is your chance to try and get after the quarterback.
Jackson in motion on 3rd down. Johnson steps ahead. Avery Johnson's got to go. Did he get there? Right at the line to gain. And it is a 1st down.
That was a little thing, but Avery Johnson had nothing open and made a decision to try and scramble. Not outside, but a scramble inside and extend the ball out just enough to get the 1st down. He didn't show off the big-time acceleration, but showed off the football acumen and awareness.
0 rushing yards last week. Road win at WVU. 65 tonight at home against Kansas. There goes Edwards. Dylan Edwards in the open field. And tripped up just shy of the red zone by O.J. Burrows. They'll mark him down to the 21 and a gain of 44.
Well, Roy, you said earlier that Avery Johnson was the #1 recruit in Kansas. Well, Dylan Edwards was the #2 recruit in Kansas. They played with each other in Little League, played against each other as they got older. Dylan Edwards transferred back to Kansas State. He felt like it was home, and now he's making big-time plays at the crib.
20 yards per touch. Is that good, Sam Acho?
That's pretty extraordinary.
I think that's getting the job done. 6.5 to go. Johnson kept it. He fooled everybody. Lost the football. And who jumped on it? Boy, it squirted out in the last minute, and I don't know. Jayhawks think they have it. Kobe Bryant indicating they do. Let's wait on the official word. And they do. A costly mistake by Avery Johnson. And an
First down,
injured
Kansas.
player. Mello Dotson, banged up Jayhawk. And J.B. Brown hopped on top of it. And the ball just slipped right out of Avery Johnson's hand.
Thought about him fooling everyone. But that ball at the bottom of the pile, it's so hard to find. It'll jump and bounce and pop. You're oftentimes taught to get to the side of it. So if you try to fall on top of it, it'll just squeeze out.
J.B. Brown right in front of Easton Kilty, starting left tackle for the Wildcats. And it's Dotson that remains down on the turf for the Jayhawks. Right on the side of this frame, senior from Daytona Beach, along with Kobe Bryant. Very talented corners in Lawrence this season, and experienced corners. A pair of seniors in that defensive backfield. And Dotson walking off under his own power, and that's a good sign.
Football people talk about, Roy, how the ball is everything. Sometimes you'll sacrifice even your own body for the ball. So I understand Mello Dotson, he's one of their team leaders, 3 pick sixes in his career. But that sacrifice could earn his team a victory.
Felt like Kansas State was on its way for another touchdown. Instead, the turnover. KU gets it back down only 3. Jayhawks bouncing back after a slow start with a new offensive coordinator. Savion Morrison steps across the 30 and a 5-yard gain. Andy Kotelnicki left Lawrence to go to Penn State. Jeff Grimes takes over the play calling duties. Jalen Daniels is injured during spring. Really, it's just 10 days before the start of preseason camp. He's able to throw with all of his wide receivers. Lawrence Arnold had a catfish barb stuck in his foot. Some strange and unusual times. All that's a way of saying that it's taken some time for this offense and this quarterback to find its rhythm, and his rhythm with his receivers, and a new play caller. Daniels lofts one deep, looking for Grimm, contact, and a flag. Jacob Parrish against Luke Grimm, and a pass interference penalty coming.
Pass interference, defense, number 10. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now, 10 versus 11 has been entertaining one way or another all night.
And there's been such a confidence level of quarterback to say, I'm going to put my receiver in a position where I think he's going to win. And if he doesn't win, something good is going to happen on our end. That was an obvious grab, an obvious and clear restriction. What I'm noticing is there's no fear that Jalen Daniels has of anyone in the defensive backfield. He trusts his receivers.
Casey motions out. A quick strike goes to Devin Neal. Into Kansas State territory, across midfield. 7-yard gain on first down.
And Roy, I don't know if you feel this as well, but it feels to me like Kansas is just running to set up the deep shot. Like they're doing a couple of these pitches wide, or maybe an inside zone, or maybe a speed option. but it feels as if they want to attack deep. So they're just running to get the linebackers' eyes in the backfield so they can throw it over their heads and the safeties.
Same, they've already rushed for 163 yards. Kansas State only gives up 83 per game on the ground this year. One of the top marks in America. Grimm the reverse. Got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a half-yard more. 3rd and short.
Remember, we talked about in 3rd and 6 or less, they're willing to run it. There was a 3rd and 7 in the first half where Kansas decided to run. And so they are not afraid to run the ball in 3rd and short.
Jayhawks 7 of 8 on 3rd down tonight. Roll the pocket out for Daniels and into the turf, incomplete. Quentin Skinner tried to come back for it. He couldn't do it. And decision time for Lance Leipold. Here comes the punt team.
That was a ball that I think could have been caught. It was definitely low, could have been caught. But going to this decision to punt, it's not a bad one. It's a good decision. This is a close game. You want to play the field position game at this point. Get K-State backed up, play good defense, and if you force them to punt, you'll get the ball back right around this same area.
Jacob Parrish back deep to receive this punt. Damon Greaves well over his head. And it bounces into the end zone from the 2. After a punt of 46, don't forget our Week 8 Monday Night Football matchup. Lake Neighbors and the Giants head to the Steel City. It's Russell Wilson and the 5-2 Steelers. 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes, and once again Peyton and Eli on ESPN2.
And Russell Wilson is back now.
Justin Fields wasn't playing bad ball.
He wasn't at all. Though he did admit, he said he could have played better.
That was a moment of honesty.
Moment of humility.
Yes, it was. Speaks a lot to his mentality and his future, I have to think, with his skill set in the NFL. Give it to Giddens, who spun around and he lost a couple. Caleb Taylor, the TFL, and a loss of 3.
So everyone talks, Roy, about the end of the first half and all those things and the beginning of the second half. But in my experience, the end of 3rd quarters will always seem like when the momentum shifted the most, especially in a position like this. If you're Kansas, you have K-State backed up. If you're K-State, you just fumbled. You want something good to happen. So these times really, I feel like, are when momentum can shift. End of the 3rd quarter going into the 4th.
KU defense has been stout. They did give up the long run to Giddens of 54 yards just moments ago. He only has 70 yards overall. He'll get another touch. The jump cut was there, shifting his way across the 25. It'll be 3rd down and short, a 10-yard pickup. Taylor Davis, the tackle. Giddens found a way that time.
And all 10 of those yards were by DJ Giddens. Cornell Wheeler is one of the leaders of this team, misses basically because DJ Giddens does the move he always does. He does this kind of hop back, flip back move right in the hole, and Giddens gets a huge 10-yard gain to have it be 3rd and 3 rather than 3rd and 13.
Giddens remains on the field. Is it his time to start to take this game over? Motion him out. The slant pattern was tipped and incomplete. Keegan Johnson was trying to break free. Caleb Taylor, he stuck one of those big mitts up there. That ball was deflected and never had a chance.
Talked earlier, Roy, about that battle of field position. Well, right now, that was a huge stop by Kansas, which means punting the ball, you'll get an opportunity to win that field position battle.
Trevor Wilson back deep to receive this punt. McClannon off the side of his foot. It caroms out of bounds. KU, the outstanding field position. And we'll get the football back. Brendan Mott leads the Big 12 in sacks, and he was so kind to be mic'd up with us pregame.
Cats, baby. Cats. Appreciate you, Coach. Hey, did you get that rash checked out? That rash you had on your belly? I know you was talking about some rash that you got the other day. You need some ointment for us. You ever get that checked out? Hey, when we make plays today, we got to be celebrating.
Yeah, we lit.
You hear me?
We make that boom.
We might have to bring the boom. Bring the boom to the bill. And after all these trades, these motions, once we get lined up, it's you versus that guy, man. Take him to a deep place and drown his ass, man. Let's go. Let's go. Dogs on 3, 1, 2, 3.
And right as Mott talks to his defense, Luke Grimm comes up. Absolute gold again with a deep ball. 42 yards on that pitch and catch.
Well, Brett Mott said take him to a deep place. I think Luke Grimm was listening. He said, okay, you want the deep ball, I'll take it. This is the 3rd or 4th deep opportunity that we've seen Kansas take. They haven't connected on all of them, but all those short runs are opening up the window for these passes down the field.
Kansas in the red zone. The toss to Neal. Cuts it back, Devin Neal. Inside the 10, Purnell to tackle. Gain of nearly 4. How about this KU Jayhawk football team? Trailing by 3 after the fast start, that opening possession touchdown. Kansas State scores 16 unanswered. You could feel momentum on the side of the Wildcats. Kansas trying to steal it right back. Re-grab the advantage right before the beginning of the 4th. Daniels takes off. The stutter step. Another move across the goal line for the touchdown. Show after the punt of just 27. It only took 3 plays to go 54 yards. Luke Grimm says hello one more time. And the Jayhawks are back in front on the road in Manhattan.
Roy, Jalen Daniels is a problem, and I'm still looking for the solution. He's doing it with his arms. He's doing it with his leg. He's not afraid of contact. He's running in the middle in the teeth of the defense, trusting himself and his offensive line to finish the job. Jalen Daniels in the air. Jalen Daniels on the ground. Jalen Daniels anywhere and everywhere on this field.
They were struggling halfway through this season. Devin Neal set Jalen Daniels down and told him, buddy, you're watching too much film. You need to dial it back a little bit. The two have been together. They play together, it feels like, forever in Lawrence. I think Daniels listened to some of that advice and also listened to the advice of Jeff Grimes, his new OC. They've refound that groove that existed in previous moments in his Kansas career. Can they finish the job on the road? (27-23), only 30 seconds remaining in the 3rd. And a touchback gives Kansas State football at the 25 as we take a look. Our game track brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. Comparison of these two quarterbacks. Well, they've lived up to the billing. That one turnover by Avery Johnson on the fumble moments ago, matching the INT toss by Daniels at the end of the half.
And it seems as if that this Kansas team is just not willing to go away. Kansas State has felt like they're in control, but you look at the scoreboard now and you're like, oh wow, Kansas is ahead. They're unwilling to go away. So what needs to happen now is, yes, continue to stick with Giddens, stick with Dylan Edwards, but a play has to be made by your quarterback.
Sam, those numbers almost identical between the two signal callers. Keegan Johnson on the quick spin. Johnson into Kansas territory. What a response by the Wildcats. Jerry Hill with a tackle, but a gain of 34.
Love how quickly that Keegan Johnson turned upfield. He caught the ball and immediately turned upfield. That's accuracy by the quarterback, putting it on his outside shoulder so that he could just get immediately up the field for a big-time gain.
Sam, you can feel the rhythm of this game starting to find itself a little bit in this second half. Both teams producing big plays. Johnson will keep it again. Look out, Avery Johnson. Shoved out near the 30. And another first down. 15 minutes to go in the Sunflower Showdown.
That is the end of the third quarter.
And these two teams separated by just 4 points. What a game in Manhattan. Come back with us.
Welcome back to Manhattan, Kansas, with the 27-23 lead over K-State. Coach Kleiman joins me now. Coach, both teams showing more rhythm in that quarter. How can yours close it out in the fourth?
Yeah, we still got to make some plays on defense. Quarterback's doing a nice job against us. We turn the ball over, can't have that happen, but we're going to have to find a way to get a stop against a really good offense. So that's the challenge right now.
Your ground game has been efficient, both Avery as well as your running backs. Do you want to see more of that to close it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to stay balanced because they're blitzing us. We got to be able to throw the football, but it's a good start to the drive.
Thanks for the time.
You bet. Thanks.
Now, Coach, it's a good start and perhaps an even better finish. Dylan Edwards racing on the swing pass for 19.
They're finding him in space often. This is a 2 running back set. We call it 20 personnel. 2 backs in the backfield. You don't know who's going to get the ball. Edwards is finding it outside and finding space down the sideline.
Well, he's the next great K-State running back. You can feel it. You see it with the speed. Transfer from Colorado. You mentioned it, Sam, coming back home. Avery Johnson going to be flush. Throws it to the end zone's got a man, but it's incomplete. Ancio was open, and Johnson unable to deliver the football to him. Sailed about a foot over his outstretched hand.
Bad eyes by cornerback Mello Dotson. He's looking at the quarterback. He doesn't see Ancio get behind him. The reason that happens is that you know that Avery Johnson is a running quarterback, and so as soon as he scrambles out of the pocket, you start to feel like you have to go forward, but you have to ignore that feeling and stay in coverage.
Empty backfield as Dylan Edwards splits out into the slot. DJ Giddens also remains on the field as a wide receiver. Giddens went in motion. He'll get the handoff on the jet sweep. Brought down inside the 10. It'll be 3rd down and long. Wildcats can pick up a first down inside the 2. And in a 4-point game, let's see what 3rd down yields. Listen, wild swings of momentum in this game between 2 rivals. Kansas trying to end 15 years of frustration. Chris Kleiman's never lost to the Jayhawks. Doesn't want to tonight. Third and 8. Here's Johnson, end zone, incomplete. Will Ancio falling backwards, unable to haul it in. Well, you know, that's one he would love to get back. Quinn Skinner had a drop in the first half for the Jayhawks.
And more than a drop, it seemed like Ancio just tripped. Now, this ball, you might say, was going through his hands, but he's falling over his feet. So Ancio loses his feet. The ball could have been placed better, I'm sure, but that was just a trip by tight end Will Ancio.
Chris Tennant on the field from just inside the right hash from 28 yards. 10 of 12 on the season. And Tennant hammers it through. 1-point game in Manhattan, 27-26. (27-26) back in Aggieville. Kansas State fans understand it. Can't wait to get there after this game, provided their team continues the winning streak. They've got work to do with 13:23 to go in this Sunflower Showdown. What a great environment it has been at Bill Snyder Family Stadium tonight. And you think about this rivalry, it goes across multiple sports in all walks of life. Even in early February, how about the shocking upset? Jerome Tang's K-State Wildcats get it done against top 5 KU. And Taylor, there was a little bit of chatter after that contest, was there not?
All good rivalries have the chatter, Roy. Yeah, Kobe Bryant putting out a tweet back in February saying, don't worry, guys, we'll get him in football. Avery Johnson quote tweeted with the laughing, crying emojis. Just good old fun. Asked Kobe Bryant how he describes this rivalry. He said, oh, this one's personal.
It has felt that way tonight inside this stadium. Devin Neal, crafty looking running play on the right side, a gain of 4. Jay Payne, the tackle, and Colby McAllister.
Felt that way when she said it was personal. I felt that when she said that.
Had a little emphasis behind it.
Yeah.
I'm just quoting it appropriately, guys. I gotta do Kobe Bryant justice.
The Mamba mentality in the defensive backfield for the Jayhawks. But now with the football, here's Daniels. Buys some time and around Mott, heaves it out of bounds. Well, Brendan Mott, one of the few times today we've seen pressure from the Big 12 sack leader.
Yeah, he's been held in check for the majority of this game. But then second part of that is just Jalen Daniels having great awareness. Brendan Mott feels like he can get him. Just grab his shoestring. Jalen Daniels keeps his shoes tied or maybe tucks them in and finds a way to avoid the sack. That's what elite level football players do, but let's not forget, this is third down. Money down. Who is going to win?
Daniels all night to survey. Finally unloads down the field and incomplete. And it was swatted away. Lawrence Arnold had no shot with Keenan Garber right in his grill.
Keenan Garber is from Lawrence, Kansas. Got his degree in social science. He said, hey, get out of my social space. I'm blocking you, like Twitter or X, and I'm getting rid of that pass. Great play by Keenan Garber.
Wildcats get the stop they needed on defense. Damian Greaves sends it to Dylan Edwards in the fair catch after a punt of 43. Now coming up Tuesday, it's NHL on ESPN. We'll have a doubleheader, Rangers and Caps, 7:30 Eastern. Then it's out to Cali, the in-state matchup between the Kings and the Sharks. Coverage starts with a point at 6 Eastern on ESPN2. So here comes Avery Johnson. Down 1, plenty of time left. It's accounted for more than 300 yards of total offense tonight. His only misstep, the fumble, deep in Kansas territory. Back in the third. Play action for Johnson. Jaden Jackson has it. Driven down short of the 31. He'll mark him at the 31, in fact. Mello Dotson, the tackle. So Dotson on the field. He was banged up earlier. And that standout cornerback tandem for the Jayhawks with Kobe Bryant and Mello Dotson. Nothing mellow about his play. I believe it's Kobe at times that perhaps has done the majority of the talking. DJ Giddens struck down from behind. At the line, it'll be third down. So suddenly we're seeing both defenses make plays. Woodkey with a tackle. Number 95 in white was ready and wait.
And now we're in third and long, 3rd and 7. So much of this third down game has been to the tight ends, but I don't see any tight ends on the field right now. 1 running back, 4 receivers. So Avery Johnson's going to have to throw it or use his legs.
Quite comfortable in both categories so far this evening. Under 11 to play. On third down, Johnson, the crossing pattern. It's there, but well short of the line to gain. 4th and 3, the tackle after a gain of 4 by Wheeler. You're telling me back-to-back 3-and-outs, one for each side, these last two possessions to start the fourth. And suddenly a game of field position has erupted in Manhattan. Keegan Johnson again slow to get off the turf. Well, he's gritted one out tonight, hasn't he?
He has. He's extremely tough, and he's showing it by putting his body on the line for his team.
His nose bloodied back in that third quarter. And it was Wheeler that came in attacking that left knee. Nine targets tonight for Keegan Johnson. More importantly, fourth down for Kansas State. Sunflower Showdown. Kansas State starting to bog down offensively. You go back to the Avery Johnson fumble, then a punt, a field goal, and another punt here. There are 4 possessions in the second half. And a fair catch called for and made by Trevor Wilson. Timeout on the field. We step aside. The lead is 1 for the Jayhawks on the road. Look at this week's college football rankings. Brought to you by Capital One. No upsets so far, and Texas A&M up 12 against LSU down at Kyle Field. Let's see if there's perhaps more chaos coming later tonight out in Boulder over on ESPN. Colorado and Cincinnati getting together. They're up and rugged Big 12. Kansas with the football and a 1-point advantage, approaching 10 minutes to play. Neal, the running back, approaching KU record books. He's the all-time leading rusher in school history. Van Wy the tackle as Neal is stopped near the 20. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. Taylor, what are you hearing down on the sidelines for Kansas State on defense?
Well, no surprise, a lot of conversation before this drive about containing Jalen Daniels. Keep in mind, this defense faced rushing quarterbacks the past 2 weeks in Shedeur Sanders and Garrett Green, and the coaches told us Jalen's kind of a combination of the two. Coach is saying discipline rush lanes, get 6 to the ground.
Out in the flats, pass is caught by Neal, racing ahead for a first down. Unusual formation and a gain of 8. BJ Payne the tackle.
It is unusual, but not for Kansas. Kansas loves to get in these funky formations. They'll have 3 linemen on the inside and 2 linemen wide, and they'll evaluate the defense and make a decision based off of what they see. Kansas State has been prepared for it, but it's hard to stop because you have a big guy trying to block a little.
Shane's move, approaching 9 to play. Daniels looks one way, fires it back the other, and across the middle, it's Trevor Wilson. Gain of 6. We talked about how methodical KU can be on offense, taking their time. And again, this drive begins in a similar way. We've seen other possessions by Kansas in the second half.
And this is where they actually would want to be more methodical. There's about a little less than 9 minutes left on the clock, and this offense is a big play explosive offense, but they don't have to be. At this point, with the 1-point lead, ball in your hands, take your time and still slowly drive down the field.
3-man front shown by the Wildcats. And that pistol look, here's a flea flicker. Daniels wants to go deep. Now will take off with a crease and a move, and a penalty marker flies in. Daniels brought down at the line to gain on 2nd and 4. Let's check the infraction.
Holding. Offense number 52. 10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
Logan Brown, the Wisconsin transfer, and the starter at right tackle.
And you're saying, why would he hold in that position? Well, everything was covered. That's a flea flicker. The ball's supposed to be thrown down the field. Well, great job on the back end having everything locked down. And so Jalen Daniels made the smart decision of saying, I'm not going to try and force an interception. I'm just going to run the ball. Well, Logan Brown is not realizing that he's going to run the ball. And so you see that slight hold. I don't think it was too extra, but that slight hold caused a penalty.
Instead of 1st and 10, it'll be 2nd and 14. Daniels, quarterback draw. Boy, tripped up over the turf for a moment. Got that close to the original line of scrimmage. And a win for the Kansas State defense somehow, some way. 3rd and long.
A temporary win, Roy, but this play right here is everything. There's 7 minutes left in the game. 3rd and long. You get a stop, you gain field position. If you don't, the clock keeps on ticking and ticking and ticking.
Here comes the pass rush. Backside pressure. Daniels falls down. He got rid of the football. He was clearly still inside the pocket. Desmond Purnell just broke through. And now a conversation with his veteran Big 12 crew.
Not only was he inside the pocket, but that ball did not cross the line of scrimmage. And as we see, a flag is going to come out for intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 6. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. 4th down.
Sam, it hasn't happened a ton tonight because Jalen Daniels is so elusive. We've mentioned Brendan Mott's name a little bit more. Purnell, we just talked about a little bit more. And Kansas State starting to find different and unique ways to create pressure and wreak havoc.
And to get the ball back into their hands as the clock continues to tick. There's 7 minutes left. You're down by 1. Ball may be happening at midfield.
Damon Greaves off the side of the foot and out of bounds. Dylan Edwards could only watch. Kansas State gets it back near midfield after a punt of just 34 yards. How much fun is this? The Sunflower Showdown down to the wire. It's a 1-point game back in Manhattan. Lance Leipold, Chris Kleiman. Mutual respect for two coaches that never skipped a step to get to this point. And this Kansas State student section supporting their head coach, Chris Kleiman. Avery for president. It's out there a little short of Election Day. And a great atmosphere tonight on display for the home team playing on homecoming for the first time in 28 days. As Johnson's brought down by Cornell Wheeler. It was a hot topic here in the state of Kansas this week, the respect between Kleiman and Leipold. You think back to the days at North Dakota State for Chris Kleiman, arriving here in Manhattan, winning national championships there. Lance Leipold doing the same thing at lower levels of college football. Then at Buffalo and the MAC, and now at KU. Pass will be caught in Kansas territory at the 39 by Cephas. So a 9-yard pickup and a first down. Respect goes out the window with the game in this rivalry on the line tonight, and Kansas State with the advantage now in KU territory.
But respect can come back in the window because the way that both of these coaches came up the ranks, they're doing it the right way. It's not like you're begging for jobs or you're somebody's son. Or it's like, no, you start Wisconsin Whitewater for Lance Leipold, North Dakota State for Kleiman, and they're just climbing the ladder.
Jake Giddens on first down at the 37. Those stops at Wisconsin Whitewater and North Dakota State yielded championships. How about 6 for Coach Leipold? And then up in Fargo, Chris Kleiman 4 FCS national titles. When you bring those kinds of resumes to these schools and their developmental programs, it has yielded incredible results.
And I love they're not just developing athletes, they're developing these men as humans. It's so impressive to see.
It's Kansas State that has won 15 in a row. In this rivalry, Johnson's going to be sacked. What a play by Marvin Grant. Way back in Kansas State territory, and a loss of 13 on that play.
We talk oftentimes as a pass rusher about staying on the upfield shoulder of the quarterback. Marvin Grant does that to a perfect degree. Attacks the runner, then stays on the upfield shoulder to not allow the quarterback to retreat out of the pocket. Perfect technique by Grant.
He was limited this week in practice. He's not been limited on the field tonight. 3rd and 20. Giddens, the inside handoff. And he'll be stopped at the 43 by Brown. And Chris Kleiman clearly wanting to play the field position game, trailing by just 1. Full complement of timeouts and the 2-minute timeout remaining. Unless he decides he wants to go for it here.
Yeah, I thought he wanted to play the field position game too, but that run was not for field position. That run was to get in a better position to go forward on 4th down. Avery Johnson, I don't expect pressure on this play. Expect them to keep him in contain.
4th and 12, Kansas State gonna roll the dice. Johnson, incomplete, and broken up by Mello Dotson. Cephas, the intended receiver. Dotson said night to night and just swatted that one away.
When we talked to their coaches from Kansas about Mello Dotson, they said, he's the most mellow guy I've been around. He's cool. But more than cool, this man is on fire. Big play after big play after big play for Mello Dotson. 4 picks last year, tied for the team lead. 3 pick sixes on his career. That was a big play by Mello Dotson.
He was grabbing the back of the jersey on that pattern right before the ball arrived. Filed that one away. KU gets it back in premium field position. Under 4 minutes to go. Here's Devin Neal, plants his foot in the turf and cuts it ahead for a gain of 2. Little tug of the jersey in a rivalry game.
First charge timeout.
Marker was
Kansas State
sent out on the turf, and a timeout's called by the Wildcats. And for Chris Kleiman, needs his defense to stand tall once again. Now coming up next week, our featured 3:30 Eastern games. ABC, the place to be for Florida, and 2nd-ranked Georgia in Jacksonville. And then also number 10 Iowa State, undefeated. The Cyclones are hosting Texas Tech in Ames on ESPN. Iowa State with a bye week, but along with BYU, still undefeated. K-State right behind both programs. Farmageddon coming up later. The end of the season, the final week of the regular season. A pretty big obstacle in the path of the Wildcats right now in the form of Kansas, and a 1-point lead with possession. If you're Lance Leipold, what do you want to see happen here with your quarterback?
Well, it's not about my quarterback. It's about my offensive line and my running back. I want to hand the ball off, and of course you want to get a 1st down, but more than anything, you want to force K-State to use their timeouts. So feel free to hand the ball off, or I have no issues keeping the ball in Jalen Daniels' hands.
Movement at left tackle. Cable do jump the line.
False start. Offense number 77. Penalty remains 2nd down.
Nice Cable do. The senior. That'll make it 2nd and 13.
Still no issues handing off. Of course, this makes it harder to get a 1st down. That's not a good penalty. Very few are good penalties. But you still have the same situation. Force K-State to get rid of their timeouts. I still would run the ball in this situation.
And with the backfield emptied, you wonder, is this quarterback draw time for Daniels? He wants to throw it. Now will take off. With a path and a tumble, and the ball comes out. Kansas State jumps on top of it. Brendan Mott
first down, Kansas State.
When you turn on the tape of Brendan Mott, you see high effort, high energy, and no wasted movement. Good things happen when you run to the ball. Brendan Mott is getting to the football. That's effort, that's energy, that's no wasted movement. And that's a forced fumble by Austin Romaine.
The helmet went right on the pigskin. The ball came out. And Brendan Mott enters the chat with his first big play of the night. Kansas State gets it back, trailing by just one. Will the misery continue for Kansas? DJ Giddens. Across the 45. Still on his feet. He'll push the pile. Well, the legs kept churning. And a 7-yard gain on first down, and now the Wildcats in no hurry whatsoever.
And remember, Roy, this is not a we need a touchdown scenario or situation. This is a get about 10, 15 yards into field goal range. So that's what Kansas is defending.
Chris Tennant has been nearly automatic this season. 10 of 12 in the field goal department. Here comes the pressure. Johnson had to unload it well before he wanted to. Keegan Johnson, the intended receiver, and J.B. Brown are collapsing that pocket. KU has dialed up the pressure at the right moments in the second half.
They have, but now we're at 3rd and 3, and you're wondering, okay, what would you do in this situation? I have no issues running the ball in this situation. Why? Because the run game has been effective. Now it looks like they're going to go to empty, but the run game has still been effective. So I have no issues if they decided to motion a running back in and run it.
221 rushing yards tonight. He'll fake it to Edwards. Johnson straight ahead. The sin in the first. Brought down to the 35. Gain of 6 on 3rd and 3.
Brilliant play design by K-State. The reason why is this. They've ran that motion 3 or 4 times. They've given it every single time. But this time on a critical 3rd down, Avery Johnson decides to keep it on the read. So great play design. Defense's eyes looking one way. You go the other.
It's been a Saturday of close calls around the country. Ohio State comes to mind. Another test, other ranked teams. Kansas State has endured a very stiff midterm exam tonight against its arch rival. And after a short pickup, that should get us to the 2-minute timeout. Nothing has been easy tonight for Chris Kleiman's Wildcats. But in position once again to extend the streak to 16. 2 minutes to go here in Manhattan. Back in Manhattan, Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. The lead is 1 for KU. Just not beaten Kansas State since way back in 2008. 15 consecutive setbacks in nearly 6,000 days. But Kansas State has the football in Kansas territory. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining. Avery Johnson will keep it. Avery Johnson ushered out hard. There was some late contact. Mello Dotson, J.B. Brown. No gain on the play. 1:55 to go, and it's 3rd down.
And he went out of bounds. So, yes, it's 3rd down, but bigger point is he went out of bounds. Avery Johnson going out of bounds means that Kansas does not have to use one of their timeouts. I think there was a fair hit and a clean hit. But going out of bounds, if K-State doesn't get a first down, gives Kansas extra timeouts if they were to get the ball back.
Brown shoved him, and there was a question of how far out of bounds was he in that moment. 3rd down and 8. Chris Tennant has long this season. 48 yards. Johnson got rid of it. And the question is, was that hand coming forward? They will rule the pass incomplete. Marvin Grant, boy, he has lived in that backfield, playing from that safety spot in KU's defense, and Johnson helped up.
Perfectly timed blitz and brilliant call by the DC. But DJ Withers had a chance to intercept this ball. I get it, you're a defensive tackle. You're not known for the hands, but that could have ended the game.
Here is Chris Tennant, a Kansas native. His career long is 51. This attempt from 51 yards and for the lead. Tennant on the way. Chris Tennant connects from distance. Kansas State back in front. Little kicker swagger after an attempt at a connection like that, Sam Acho.
Well, Chris Tennant is a finance major, so he's letting the math do the talking. I don't care how many yards it is. 51-yard, tying his career high. He's 6'5", so he's got length, got a leg, but that's a beautiful kick by Chris Tennant from Shawnee, Kansas.
It's Leipold in disbelief, but still with plenty of time to go. And this rivalry, that is how it has gone since 2008. 15 years of frustration. And for Avery Johnson, he has no intentions of going quietly tonight. He found a way to get it done. It was close on that third down play with the pressure. But Tennant from downtown got the job done. KU 2 timeouts remaining. All of the fourth quarter struggles this year. The 4 losses in games in which they led late in the fourth. Could it be number 5 tonight? The ensuing kickoff sails 4 yards deep into the end zone. It's been Heartbreak Hotel beginning in early September against Illinois, a 17-13 lead in the fourth before UNLV. It was a 3-point setback after another 4-point lead in the fourth quarter was squandered. The loss at West Virginia. TCU, it's a 3-point advantage in the second half. And finally at Arizona State. All of these losses stack up one on top of the other. Desperately trying to change that momentum here tonight against the arch rival on the road. Jalen Daniels with pressure off the back foot and out of bounds. Austin Moore didn't give him much time to get rid of the football, did he?
Oh, he didn't. And what K-State loves to do when it's pressure time, they love to bring pressure. Austin Moore comes through clean, comes through free. Expect 2 things as this series continues: more pressure and expect targeting Luke Brim, number 11. Those are the 2 things I expect these next 2 plays.
It was Grimm that went in motion. Daniels has to get to the edge here, and he does. And Karum's out of bounds, crossing the 30. 6-yard gain when it felt like that play had no chance of succeeding. But now it's 3rd down. And Acho, it's getting awfully loud in the Little Apple.
Roy, this is a picture of the entire season for Kansas. Game after game, down by 1 score in the fourth quarter. Do you have the wits to finish?
Daniels again on the comeback, and it is corralled. The reception is there at the 44. A gain of 13 on 3rd and 4 for Lawrence Arnold.
Great awareness by the quarterback. He's staring down Arnold, but he knows he can fit that ball in that tight window. Man-to-man coverage, great possession and ball control by Arnold. Now Kansas, remember, all they need is a field goal as well.
Remember, Tabor Allen has missed 2 extra points this season, 1 earlier tonight. Otherwise, a solid 6 of 7 with his field goal attempts. It'll be 2nd and 10. VJ Payne able to sneak into the Kansas backfield. certainly feel the weight. 15 losses, a rivalry game on the road. Lance Leipold's never defeated Chris Kleiman. And this state on the edge of its seat. Pressure, Daniels escapes for a moment, gets rid of it. Jared Casey has it. And Casey across the 45, a gain of just 3.
Second charge timeout. Kansas, 30 seconds.
Jayhawks hanging on by a thread.
And so was Jalen Daniels. They were holding on to his jersey by a thread and found a way not only to escape the sack, but get it to Jared Casey, his trusted tight end slash fullback slash Mr. Do-It-All. Jared Casey wasn't able to get out of bounds, but he got his team into a 3rd and manageable. So right now you have 1 timeout left. You're in 3rd and 8. You know you need a first down. If you get a first down, the clock stops. You can reset. You'll have a second play ready. You'll be able to have that clock stop until the chains reset. But right now, all that matters is getting these 8 yards, and my focus still is on number 11, Luke Grimm.
Jalen Daniels can barely get the call out. It's so loud. By a little bit of time, down on the turf and incomplete. Jared Casey unable to get his 2 arms and hands underneath it. It's 4th down.
So that rush on the top by Toby Osunsami was force the pressure and force the quick release.
And it all comes down to this. Jayhawks need 7. Here comes the pressure. Daniels running away from it. Racing to the edge, and he lost the football out of bounds. Kansas State gets the football back. VJ Payne tracked him down. And 15 years of frustration will continue for the Jayhawks.
Just when you thought that Jalen Daniels was going to do it with his legs, VJ Payne shows the extra effort, shows the strain, shows the energy, shows all those off-season workouts, and makes a huge play for his team.
3rd and final charge timeout.
A season of heartbreak continues for KU. And once again at the expense of its nemesis in the Sunflower Showdown.
Game clock operator, please restore the game clock to 48 seconds. That's his last timeout. What's your last timeout?
Kansas now out of timeouts, and this capacity crowd feeling every bit of what just transpired. I'm with you. I thought Daniels got to the edge and he was going to reach the line to gain. VJ Payne said, not tonight.
I don't know, Roy, if I've seen a play like that happen in that fashion. Quarterback usually escapes and quarterback goes and runs, and VJ Payne doesn't allow it to happen.
Kansas State and its march towards the top of the Big 12. That run continues. Still in line to win the Big 12 championship. Just one loss on the season, now improving to 7-1 and 4-1 in the conference. What a game in Manhattan, and two coaches that have nothing but respect between each other. Shake hands one last time. 29-27, the Sunflower Showdown. Nacho, it lived up to the billing tonight.
Two great teams, two great coaches, competitive spirit, competitive passion, fire.
Avery Johnson, the hero once again. He is with our Taylor Davis.
Thank you, guys. Avery, you finally just flashed a big smile on that one. This rivalry game lived up to the hype. How complete of a performance did your teammates put on for you tonight?
Yeah, we fought till the end, and that's just what we preached all week. We knew it'd be a hard-fought battle out here tonight. I'm just proud of how the guys fought, and ultimately this was the feeling we wanted to have.
You guys talked this week about not just getting better game after game, getting better play after play. How much of a requirement was that against Kansas?
Credit to our defense, man. We weren't as explosive in the second half, I didn't feel like, as we were in the first half. All starts with me. I didn't play as well as I wanted to play. Love you, Coach. But hey, our defense played their butts off in the second half, and ultimately that's why we won this game.
This was your 9th career start, but you told me you wanted to bring a veteran mentality to this rivalry game. What did this team show tonight?
Just so grit, man. Fighting to the end. Man, that's just all our preparation and practice. All the hard workouts in the summer, that's just all coming to fruition. So credit to our coaching staff, credit to the guys for coming out and fighting tonight, and this was a big one. This was a big one for the state of Kansas.
Go enjoy it with your teammates.
Now, some of the big plays made by the sophomore quarterback, Avery Johnson. Had that one misstep on the fumble. Outside of that, near perfection in engineering this comeback. And don't forget about the 51-yard field goal from way downtown. It was hammered home by Chris Tennant. We got all kinds of love for place kickers in this broadcasting booth, and a great job by him and the Kansas State special teams.
Yeah, Kansas State, they finished. This wasn't an Avery Johnson show. This was a Kansas State Wildcat performance. They fought to the end. They finished to the end against a great opponent.
Well, the Wildcats continue their incredible start in 2024. 16 wins in a row now against arch rival Kansas. And these fans have no intentions of leaving Bill Snyder Family Stadium anytime soon. Sam, what a great game, and an absolute pleasure for us to be here to witness it tonight.
And what an opportunity now as this game comes to an end and Kansas State is thinking their Big 12 championship hopes and playoff hopes are still alive.
Yeah, those percentages we showed you as we started the show tonight have only gone up after this win, and more difficult tests ahead as K-State continues deeper into the regular season. 29-27, the final, 16 in a row in the Sunflower Showdown for KSU. That is our final score. For Sam Acho and Taylor Davis, I'm Roy Philpott. We say good night from Manhattan. Right now, it's the breakdown with Peyton and Belichick.